What's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarouche.
And this is something different a little bit.
It's a podcast, talkback,
yeah.
review, throwback, extravaganza.
What's up, Beltalotas? How's everybody doing? This is The Expanse, full series, spoiler chat. We are talking about everything that happens in the television show. Mm-hmm. Don't bring up the fucking books.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, because we're going to read them and we want to experience them for ourselves, okay?
We have a bunch of questions from the chat that you guys wanted answered in the questions thing. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get through all the questions. We're going to talk about the show. We're going to talk about the things that we love.
Hell yeah.
Someone said Expanse Book Club when? Mr. Smith, the problem with that is that we accidentally read Cradle. And so I feel like we can't do 3 series at a time.
Read Cradle. I think we can.
I don't know. I think we'll burn through Cradle pretty quick. And then we'll do Expanse after.
Yeah, maybe. But also, like, Sanderson stuff's, like, chunky and heavy. And we keep, like, comparing his works to his other works because we read them so close together. So it might honestly be nice.
No, we're going to want to keep going to try and catch up with Stormlight 5.
Ooh.
Before it comes out. So we're going to do, like, Stormlight, Cradle, Stormlight, Cradle, Stormlight, Cradle, right?
That's fair. We do have book 1, though. Leviathan's Wake.
Leviathan's Wake.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
How's everybody doing?
To this. This is going to be fun. Just so you know, this show is brought to you by Live Shame, Die Empty. Art by Gabe Sapienza. If you want this art on a shirt, mug, hoodie, whatever, go to...
hat, joggers...
It looks really good. Gabe did an amazing job. You can get that at the link in the description below. I highly recommend it. Fourth Wall is our merch company, and they make good shit.
The hoodie is so comfy.
Yeah, I love that hoodie.
It's so good. I have the, like, baseball tee, which is really nice.
Snowwolf in chat has the beanie.
Yeah, it looks so good. So freaking good. Yeah, I'm so happy with how that merch turned out. Yep. It's probably my favorite. The matte one.
The matte one's pretty good.
Is also pretty good, but, like, also the Ivor Leviathan one's pretty good. We have good merch. And
the Death and Divine team logo is my favorite.
Oh, fair.
I wear that shirt. That's my favorite t-shirt I own.
Yeah. That is absolutely fair.
Yeah, we are lucky to be surrounded, because almost all of our art is our friends. And we're lucky to just have people in our life who are all very talented and get to, buy stuff from them.
I mean, yeah. We're like, hey, I need you to make me something. And they're like, I got you, fam. Mm-hmm. It's great. I love it.
So, Clarouche, we're here to talk about The Expanse.
We are.
A television program that ran on the Sci-fi network until it was not there anymore. And then it ran on the Sci-fi network for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And then Jeff Bezos, the man who I complained to about a lot of the world's modern day issues.
You complained to him?
Yeah, personally.
How?
Over dinner. Yeah, we're friends.
Shit.
Yeah.
Where am I?
It's a love-hate relationship.
You, like, knock me out? I don't remember this.
You sleep a lot.
I wish I slept more, honestly.
So, no, Jeff Bezos was like, hey, I like that show. Let's make more of it. And so they brought it back, and then seasons 4 through 6 were on Prime Video, and we have reacted to all of it. So if you'd like to see our reactions to individual episodes, the things we liked, the things we didn't, you can do that over on the YouTube channel if you're watching on Twitch, or on the YouTube channel you're currently on if you're watching this on YouTube. They're all there. They're in the Expanse playlist. And someone told me today that it might be out of order, so I will try and fix that.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I see some requests in the chat for an Amos shirt that says, I am that guy. I feel like you could do something similar with this. The thing is, maybe we'll poll chat and see if anyone would actually be interested in it, because we love our friends. They're very talented artists, but, like, they're also expensive.
I mean, I would do it just to own it myself. But.
I know, right? That's kind of the thing, is I make merch that, like, I want to have.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Good to know. And I do love Amos. He's my fucking favorite. Fun fact.
Yeah, he's the best character on the show.
Yeah, fun fact, did base my character of Harvest off of him a little bit in our Dragonlance D&D campaign. Who's definitely a inspiration for her in some ways.
In many ways.
Yeah. It's fine. If you've watched the Dragonlance show, you know.
Session 19 went live today. I hope you were all there. If you weren't,
how dare you?
Deductions.
Just kidding. It's fine.
Your attendance will count towards your final grade.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, that...
No one's getting an A+. We simply put out too much content for anyone to watch all of it.
I know. I can't even keep up with all the shit that we're doing.
I don't watch any of it.
I don't know how you guys do it either.
Yeah.
You don't.
I haven't watched a minute of your streams in a long time.
Fair.
This is a good time to remind you guys that tomorrow, Clarus will be streaming her 5-year anniversary on Twitch. It's a streamiversary. It is the beginning of Clarus as an internet denizen. Clarus, give a little preview of what you'll be doing.
I have no idea.
Great. Very exciting.
So just come and hang out. Because that's really what my streams are all about.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Someone was like, play Helldivers with the community. And I'm like, that's learning.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. We shall see. I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow, but I know it's going to be a good time.
If we get 100 subs during this stream, Clarus will play Helldivers 2 tomorrow with the community.
100 subs or 100 members?
100 subs on Twitch.
Oh, yeah, no.
Or 100 members. 100 members would be great too.
Nah,
it's the same. We
fine.
make actually members because we make more money off a YouTube member than we do a Twitch sub. But Clarus.
Yep.
Before we get into the questions, before we get into the seasons, I want to know globally, what do you think of the 6 seasons of The Expanse? How do you feel about it now that we're a few months past finishing it?
Honestly, I'd love to go back and rewatch it. It was so much fun. It was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I have all these fond memories of it. You know what I mean? Especially because we watched it with the community, and it was so much of a group project in a way. That I haven't had the time currently, but would love to just watch it casually and see stuff that I missed to pick up on, and see if any of my feelings change towards certain characters or episodes or anything. I don't think so. I feel like that's not super likely. I felt pretty strong about my positive feelings for the show, so yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that it is a show. I mean, I think it's one of the best television shows I've ever watched, right? And so for me, I think that on a rewatch, some of the stuff that I found, because I don't think it's perfect, and I definitely feel like I criticized it while we were watching it, right? It wasn't like I was 1,000% positive every step of the way.
Yeah.
And I think that because of how good the show is globally, on a rewatch, it's one where I wouldn't care as much. You know, the proto-molecule kind of being a little bit more of a mystery than I always wanted it to be wouldn't matter as much.
Yeah.
Because I know where it goes. Season 4 being a little bit slower and just and not my favorite, right? My least favorite of the 6 seasons doesn't really matter on the rewatch in the way that it did in the moment, where I was like, the end of season 3 was just so good.
I know.
And then season 5 and 6 are both so excellent. And so season 4 for me is just a dip, but it's a dip that in hindsight doesn't matter as much, right? I only felt it in the moment.
Yeah, and the nature of these reactions that we do is we try and give our honest, unrefined opinions, literally. Yeah. And I think that in certain shows, when reacting, people kind of maybe get upset if we miss things, or things are misunderstood and that kind of stuff. But we literally just watched it. There are times where the camera turns off and you have a moment to digest, and you feel a different way about something, or you remember something that gives another thing context, that kind of. What are you looking at?
They just said they're very quiet, and I'm wondering if I might have bumped something on here.
Oh, really?
Oh, this is really low. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Is it too loud now?
I think that might be a bit loud. They said audio was good.
Yeah, but that's going to be a little bit behind. Bow, 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 bow.
No, that's too red. I don't like that.
That's better.
Yeah, too loud now.
Sorry, everyone.
How is that?
I'll clean that up for the audio production.
Ears bleeding.
Is this good now?
Yeah. How is this?
I can just cut this out. So
that's true. Yeah.
Cool.
Just boosting.
I was boosting the audio because it was quiet, and now it's.
Yeah, sorry. Yep, no.
Well, I made me deaf.
I didn't think it was that. Wow. Okay.
Cool.
This is why you gotta let me do the sound checks first.
But we can't sound check you. We have to sound check me because I'm the loud one.
No, we gotta do me first because if I'm too loud, then you're definitely too loud.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm the test subject. Yeah. Hopefully that's a little bit better.
But yeah. No. I do think that. I think that especially one of the things about the show that I think works so well is it is a television show that has a very deeply satisfying finale. And
yes,
it's such a hard thing to nail.
You don't get that often.
You don't, right? Like, there's a lot of shows that don't have great finales that are great shows. And I think that, like, sometimes it's because they go too big and it gets a little weird, right?
Or they drag it on too long.
Right? And then there's no good place to end because the show's just... Or, you get something like Buffy where, like, Buffy ends with such a huge, earth-shattering finale. And it's like, well, you can't stop there. You've opened up the story to, I need to know what happens next. Oh. And it's why there's, 3 seasons of the show that's written out in the comics to try and explain what happens after the Buffy finale.
Oh, okay. Haven't watched it.
And so I think that, like, this is an interesting one where there are 3 more books and you can go see what happens next. But as a stopping point, and I said this at the end of season 3, right? Like, the end of season 3 would have been a perfect finale for a TV show.
Yeah.
If it had ended there, I know people wanted more and there's the fan. And, like, I get that. And I'm glad that they kept going.
Yeah.
But the end of season 3 felt like a series finale possibility episode. Whereas, like, seasons 1, 2, 4, and 5, I would not feel like they could end a show.
No.
They don't have that same quality that ended up being... really valuable.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Syra, thank you for the lurk over on Twitch.
Syra,
I hope you're well. Syra, if you guys don't follow Syra, you should. Syra might be appearing on the channel in the future.
What?
Not near future, but in the future.
Yeah.
Collab.
Yeah.
Thing.
She's over on Twitch.
It might happen. It might not.
Really fun streams.
She's as busy as we are, so we'll see what happens. But
honestly,
we adore her, and you should definitely follow her.
That is fair. Yeah, that is fair.
Great show.
Yeah, and I am glad that there are books that continue on. Like, I'm glad that there is more and it exists. But I also feel glad that the ending was satisfying enough that I don't, like, I'm not, like, scrambling for more, right? It felt, yes,
and,
I
I
love
think
when that happens.
We will read the books and we will get to the more, and I'm excited to get to the more.
Yeah.
But I just think that as an offboarding point for a TV show, it just felt like a natural conclusion to most people's arcs, right? Like, I'm hoping that we get reunion between mother and son in the future, and we get kind of all these things. I would love to see a Naomi and Holden wedding. I would love to see that for them.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're marriage people, but
I would honestly love a spin-off show of Philip, and like coming to terms.
Would you want a spin-off that his mother's never in?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. No, he is his own person.
Mm-hmm.
He has had the burdens of his, like, psychotic father pressing down on him through his whole life. And I think that his mother helping him shed that as a final act, for her in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we know he's alive, and she doesn't. And, like, that is incredibly painful. But
she does know at the end of the show.
No, she doesn't. She never finds out. He fucks off.
Yeah, but don't they see that, like, wait. No, at the end of the show, doesn't Holden see a log that his thing evacuated the ship?
Nope. There is no record. The only thing that he does is he does change his last name to Nagata. So that would be the only way that maybe
that's what I'm thinking of, is him putting... Yeah.
Maybe she would find out that way. But I would eat
There's a Philip Nagata docking around the galaxy?
Right?
Couldn't be.
Yeah, I know. That one is a little bit sus. But I would love to see what he does with his life being given this incredible chance. Because I love the world of The Expanse so much. Yeah. I think the possibilities are in this, especially because the rings are open. Like you could go to any fucking world ever, and it would just be... I think that would be really, really fascinating.
So Nature Wave, we're on Twitch. We have not read the last 3 books, and we do not want spoilers.
No.
We don't want to know.
No.
We are good. We're going to read it at some point and book club it.
I appreciate you checking in. But, we're not going to... Yeah, we're gonna let ourselves have that experience with you guys.
So, we start the Expanse on the... Do you want to say it?
What?
Where does the show start, Clarus? Do you want to intro it?
Where does it start?
Yeah. Where does the show start?
On a ship with Julie Mao.
Well, sure, but where does Holden's story start? What's that ship called?
Oh. I see where you're going. Sorry, it took me a minute.
Was it the cannot?
Yeah.
It was the cannot.
Yeah. It is.
Why would they remember the cannot?
You know what? That might be one of my finest moments.
It is the funniest thing that's ever happened in a reaction on this channel.
Really, the funniest.
You looking at me like I'm an idiot and being like, why would they remember the cannot? Is maybe the funniest thing that's happened in the entirety of Nerdy Nightly. That and do you not like single mothers are like the two banger moments.
That one you'll have to go looking for context.
That's Attack on Titan live action.
Yeah.
You were like, why would they remember the cannot? And I was like, this is the fucking thing that's written on all the walls. What do you mean?
Yeah, you know what? It was a moment. Mm-hmm. It was a beautiful moment, and I'm glad that it exists. Yeah. But I don't really know how I got there.
No one does.
No
one knows how you get anywhere. Except for when you get somewhere out in the world, because they know that I drove you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember the Canterbury. The Canterbury is a ship that's hauling ice around the galaxy, trying to get that sweet, sweet liquid H2O that's in solid form because it's not sublimating. We learned about sublimation yesterday in book club.
In book club.
And they get blown to shit. Most of them don't survive. But our boy Holden... played wonderfully throughout the entire series by Stephen Strait. Really like an admirable leading man.
Yeah.
And one of the ways in which I think he's... one of the compliments I want to give him as a leading man, as we talk about the show, is that the show isn't always about him. And his performance is very good at giving attention to other characters in the show. And does not feel like... sometimes you're watching a TV show and you're like, oh, the lead of the show had an ego. And you can just tell by the way it's written about them and all of those things. And I really did not ever get the vibe in the show that Stephen Strait was uncomfortable when Naomi was the focus or when Amos was the focus and he was a background character in those parts of the show. Yeah,
he didn't need the spotlight all the time.
That's a tough thing to do when you're the lead on a TV show.
Yeah, you got to give people the space.
Yeah.
And, sorry. And I think that he did a wonderful job. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
And so we meet him originally in bed with a very attractive white lady.
Who dies.
She dies. And then he really never talks about her again because he meets the most gorgeous black lady in the galaxy. And once you go black, you never go back.
I have heard this.
Those are in fact the rules.
We don't make the rules.
We don't make the rules, but Stephen Strait lives by them.
Yeah.
No, I do remember thinking, like, at the beginning of the show, I was like, oh, he loves that girl.
You said that in the reaction.
And then she died, and he, I don't know that he ever said her name again.
No.
I was like, oh,
you were like,
he liked her.
He loves that girl. You were like, she's pregnant. I was like, I
really did think she was pregnant. Yeah,
I rewatched our reaction to episode 1. Which was a wild experience because I remember we couldn't really hear properly what was going on, and I had no idea who the fuck Miller was and what his deal was. I was like, oh, he's a detective guy, and other than that, I hadn't really heard much else that was said while he was there because we had to turn on subtitles, which that helped so much.
The audio I do remember the audio in season 1 is not great. Not the audio, the mixing of the audio. They tried to go too rugged with the space and the spaceship noises.
Yeah.
And the people in chat who are just put on the subtitles for season 1 and a bit of season 2 were so right.
Yeah.
There was definitely a point in the show where I was like, oh, I can turn them off now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I am so grateful for a community who's like, hey, just do this. Here's a fix for you. Because it made such a difference. But yeah, the moment that the opening with the Oh no! What I wanted to talk about is, do you remember what you thought? You know how you're like, what do you know about the show before we watch it? Whatever.
Yes.
Do you remember what you thought you knew about The Expanse before we watched it?
No.
So it was very funny. Just going back and watching that. And I'm sure it was funny for you guys clicking on this reaction and being like, oh, God. You were like, it's about the expanse between Earth and Mars. And then when the intro happened, there was a bunch of planets. You're like, maybe I'm wrong. There's so many planets here.
I was wrong because, and you know what's wild about that is that when I said that, I was like, oh yeah, it goes Earth, belt, Mars.
Right.
But that's not true.
Yeah.
It goes Earth, Mars, belt.
Yeah.
And honestly, for a lot of the year, Earth and Mars, the Earth is closer to the asteroid belt than it is to Mars.
Okay.
Right? Because like
if you say so.
The orbit around the sun between Earth and Mars isn't synchronous. So they're not, like, sometimes Mars is closer to Earth than at other times. And it's something that I'm sure the books get into that the show doesn't. Is that there's like this wild variant, like sometimes it is,
right.
There is a like right time of year to go to Mars.
Right.
And if you miss that window, it's going to take you like 6 times as long to get there.
Right. Yeah.
Or it's just impossible, right? Like,
it would suck.
You can't, the thing about getting to Mars, my understanding, and I could be 100% wrong, but like you can't chase Mars around the sun. You have to like shoot towards Mars the other direction.
Like you can't travel faster than Mars is circling?
Yeah. So if Mars is going like this, you can't like shoot from Earth and try and go and catch up to it. You go the other way.
Huh. Okay.
Because it saves you like an ungodly amount of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. See, I don't know anything about space.
Threx says with the Epstein drive you could. I don't know that you would though. I don't know that it would be worth your time to go the other way around, unless there's a reason to. But
sure. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. It is one of those things. That I think is a testament to the show. Mm-hmm. Me not being a science person, but feeling like I understood well enough what was going on in the show. It wasn't too technical, but it was still very much based in like real science. Yeah. Like it I think that they did a really great job of crafting and melding those two sides together. You know, making it something that anyone can understand, but also still being real. I see a lot of praise for the show in taking like the real world physics into account.
Yeah, it's so fun, especially those early. I remember like those early season 1 reactions when they would just like play with space and with like turning the gravity on and turning it off, and we were always just so impressed by the show's ability to visualize what that looked like. Yeah. For them, right? Yeah. The wire work in this show is so exemplary all the way through. And especially as the budget gets better, right? Yeah. But it's always present, and that stuff was there from the beginning. Season 1, they destroy the Canterbury. They get picked up by Mars. We get the brain-enhancing drugs that did not come back as much as I thought they were going to. I thought those were going to be a big part of the show.
The interrogation drugs?
Yeah, that I thought that was going to be like something that they used to fly ships or something like that. That like brain boost drug. Not as big a part of the show as I thought it was going to be after it was introduced. I thought that was foreshadowing for like really important brain boosting drug shit. I thought we were going to get like Limitless, like Bradley Cooper was going to show up and stuff.
It's suddenly a Scarlett Johansson movie.
But while we're there, we learned that this is all about stealth tech right now. And the protomolecule is a part of it, but the stealth tech is a part of it. I didn't think the stealth tech was going to be as big a part of the show as it was. But then if you come, like the show starts with this story of the stealth tech and the rockets and that comes full circle 6 seasons later, where that is still the biggest problem in the galaxy is how stealth is being used, and the theme of the darkness of space being a void with wherein you can hide these stealth rocks aiming towards Earth goes from beginning to end in a way that I just thought was beautiful and like scary and horrifying and leaned into the horror of space.
In episode 1, you're like, this show is gonna make me anxious.
And it did.
Yeah. Oh, rightfully so.
Yeah, nerdy doesn't do space is a real thing.
Yeah, that is a t-shirt.
Nerdy doesn't do space.
But just for you.
But
that
it's just for me. I don't know why anyone else would wear that. It's just a picture of my face being like,
You're like, nah. Yeah, nerdy doesn't do space.
Brian is bringing up that they come back. Oh, I know that focus drugs come back a couple of times. I just thought they were going to be a big part of the show. Kind of, and I think that it's partially Dune's fault. Because when they first introduced the focus drugs, I was like, oh, this is going to be like the spice haze that the space calculator people, Mentats? No, the Mentats don't use the spice shit. Whatever. The people who the people who triangulate the vectors in Dune need to like do the hallucinogenic drugs to do it. Thank you for the super chat, Arzu.
Arzu, thank you.
I thought the brain-boosting drugs were going to be something... Space Navigators. Thank you, Razor. I thought the brain-boosting drugs were going to be something similar to that. And they just didn't end up being that much a part of the show. They came back. But I thought they were going to be like a... If I had brain-boosting drugs and I had to pilot a spaceship...
Yeah.
It seems like those things would go hand in hand.
Right.
And that just wasn't... That wasn't the direction the show took. It was just some... It was my initial thought when I first saw them.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Arzu's super chat, thank you, says, I look forward to reading the books for the first time with you guys and hopefully finally finding out the meaning of the Belter dialogue parts.
That's fair, yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. The Belter dialect definitely like well done on like feeling like it was fully fleshed out in the world, but sometimes I was like, I beg your pardon?
Kopanga.
Excuse me?
Every time they said Kopanga, I was like, Topanga? Boy Meets World?
Yeah.
Yo, my siblings in chat. What's up, Mira?
Oh, hey!
How you doing? How you doing?
How you doing? We've been duned!
We have. I dune myself.
Expecting to get duned every time.
I do. I expect a full-on duning.
Yeah. It's not Doomsday, it's Doomsday.
It's Doomsday.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wait, Doomsday's so funny.
Right?
Yeah, we all just do hallucinogenic drugs and believe the world came to an end. It's Doomsday.
We ride sandworms.
So then, we get onto the Martian ship. It's cool as shit. I really like the Martians. And we get kind of the first... It's episode 4, where I think we get the first real moment where I feel like we shifted our expectations from the show's gore, which is the shot through the hull that blows that guy's head off.
Oh my god.
And his blood just floats there for the rest of the scene.
Yep.
That really was like a game changer moment for the show. Because it's where the stakes became so much more real.
Yeah.
Blowing up the ship that our leads weren't on is kind of typical.
Sure.
But the visual of the blood floating out of that body was like really unlike anything I'd ever seen before.
Yeah. Like playing with the gore in space, I think was like, I love that it wasn't overdone because those moments were so shocking. Like every time, like we were like, holy shit! Like I felt like this is one of the show that's gotten some of the biggest reactions out of us. Yeah. Because of that. Because it's so creatively done, but also they're not afraid to go hard when they go hard. They fucking like hack that guy's goddamn arm off.
Season 6, great scene.
Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they go hard, but they don't do it in every episode. It's not all the time. It packs a punch, but it's not like berating you over the head constantly with it. You get that like boom, like shot to the head, that like knockout every once in a while. That was like, I feel like I want to go back through our videos and just make a compilation of all of those like moments, right? Because it was just like so shocking every time.
This is where we get the super suit fight on the Martian ship. The super suit fights were not as prevalent as I thought. But we did get a really good one here. The action on the Martian ship as they're trying to get to the Rocinante. And the fact that none of the Martians actually make it. It ends up being only the crew of the Canterbury that makes it to the Rocinante. Yeah. A ship that was not called the Rocinante. They ended up naming it that. But we get finally onto the ship that is at the... Oh, I have the model of it. But it's out in the hallway.
Oh, it's sitting right there.
The Rossi.
Yeah, thank you to one of our mods, Rob Ross, for printing that for us. It's so fucking cool.
The other main character of the show.
Truly, yes. Yeah. Yes.
What are your feelings about the ship? What like when you think about the Rocinante, what like comes to mind?
I don't know. It meant so. It became so much.
Yeah.
Through the show, like again, I rewatched our episode 1 reaction, and you were like, I love how ugly the ships are.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah, they're like functional, right? They're not like meant for aesthetics really, except maybe the Razorback.
I don't know. I would argue that the Rocinante is pretty aesthetically pleasing. I think
chunky, but
I would say the Martian ships are the most aesthetically pleasing ships.
That's fair.
I think the Earth ships are fine visually, and the Belter ships are all a mess.
Right. Yeah.
And then the Martian ships, and then obviously, Mao has the most ridiculous. He has the like space yacht basically with the dildo ship, and then the Firehawk. Yeah. But I don't know. We get to the Rossi, and the Rossi's, especially because they get like some pretty cool red paint jobs throughout the show.
Yeah.
On it, where it becomes aesthetically more pleasing as the show goes on.
Yep.
Or maybe I just got used to it.
I think like that is part of it for sure. Like,
yeah.
I think that there is a beauty in things that are functional and built to like be functional. Like, it doesn't just have to be like aesthetics first and foremost, right? Like the Rocinante is beautiful because it does what it does and it does it well, and it's taken care of, and it becomes a home, right? Like it becomes the center piece for all of our main characters to come back to, and to have a connection to. Even fucking Clarissa. You know?
Clarissa.
What an interesting character.
Grew on me. You grew on me.
We fucking hated her.
Yeah.
We're like, who is this rich, entitled little shit? What the hell is she doing here? Get her out.
Yeah, and really, it's funny because like the first 4 episodes kind of are together the inciting incident, and then from there it's really about the adventures of the Rocinante and who's on it.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'm glad the show didn't do, that they could have but decided not to, was a plot line where the Rocinante gets taken away and we have to do the like getting the Rocinante back plot.
Yeah.
And I get why most TV shows have something like that, or they'll have the like you guys, your department fucked up and now you have a new boss for season 3 who actively doesn't like your department.
Yeah.
This show stayed away from that kind of television tropey convenience in order to generate conflict, and really had the conflict consistently come from the characters and from their goals and from the goals of the planets, and really made the like 3 factions the goals of the 3 factions, and then ultimately Marco's joined faction really natural to the desires that were told, and it never really felt like a character came in to be contrarian as a personality in order to drive tension.
I think the closest thing to that, and I think why you didn't like it, is the antagonist of season 4.
100%. No, and 100%. And I think that's why season 4 doesn't work for me as much, is because Murtry. I think that Murtry for me, and I know that not everyone agrees with me, but I think that for me, Murtry was the character whose actions and interests were the least interesting.
I think the least like relatable and understandable. I think what makes like villains the like good villains, and I think what makes all of the characters in The Expanse so good, is that I 100% understand why they make the choices that they do and do those things. Whereas Murtry, sometimes I did, but it was less so, and I think
it got less so as it went on.
Yeah.
When it started to be like.
But it stood out. It stood out because everyone else feels like they're acting like rational adults. Even if they're not actually, like, even if their conclusions maybe aren't coming from the right place, I still understand how they get there, and I buy that motivation. And so while season 4, I think, was, like, it definitely was the weakest, I think for both of us, I enjoyed it more than you did, but I think that glaringly, because everything else and everyone else around it was so good, that one just didn't work in the same way. Yeah,
Murtry, especially in the finale, like Murtry, when he's like actively just chasing Holden down to fight him, trying to understand why was so hard. It was so hard, especially when Holden is like going out of his way to save his men as well.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I was like, I really couldn't tell you why Murtry was doing what he was doing.
He was being a little bit deliberately evil in a way. But I was like, oh, you're just kind of being a dick to be a dick. And that's not the most interesting reason to me. I understand people are like that. That is definitely a human thing, and I will buy into it. But it was just such a stark contrast from everybody else.
Threx says Ashford is one of the best heel face turns ever. I loved his character even as an antagonist because of his personality. The thing about Ashford is that he was an antagonist to the heroes, but he wasn't an antagonist to humanity. Like, Ashford's goals were not destruction. They just weren't in line with the goals of our heroes. And that's what made him such a good antagonist, and why I think Murtry following him up wasn't, right? For me. And it's because Murtry got to a point where he was just killing people because they were running out of, like, food, or I don't know, people were going blind, and he's, like, worried about the wrong stuff. Whereas Ashford, like, it always felt like Ashford hated Earth, and I get it, right? Like, I was on board with why he hated Earth, but I didn't feel like he would have blown up Earth if he had the opportunity. He hated within a reasonable bound of what he could accomplish and what would make his people's life better.
He wouldn't commit genocide like Marco.
No.
And why Marco was such a, like,
and why Marco had to kill him, because he was, Ashford represented a rational anger to be contrary to Marco's anger, right? He was angry for the right reasons, but he didn't take it so far as to destroy everything in order to get revenge. Yeah. Because ultimately, like, there's a good chance that Marco destroys Earth. There is no live soil. There is a problem with the rings. And then, yes, Marco destroys Earth, but then finds out that going through the rings kills people, and he wipes out the Belters too. And so, you know, Marco, and Marco's fascinating, and I'm not saying Marco's wrong. Actually, we'll get to Marco a lot, I think, tonight, but I really love Marco as a character. But Ashford was the representation of the reasons why someone would be so mad at Earth in a package that was compassionate enough towards the average person that it allowed him to grow into being one of the heroes of the show. Yeah, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think he hated Earth, but he didn't hate Earthers. But Marco hates both. And it's the difference, right? Yeah, for sure. Mira wants to know what we think about having villains that are just unapologetically evil. I agree it's nice to have a sympathetic villain sometimes, but sometimes just a villain to hate can be fun. I don't think it works I think it works in fantasy, and I think that it works in superheroes, and I think that it works in... I think it works in those realms or in movies where it is a thematic choice. Yeah. But I don't think it works in a TV show because you spend too much time with them to not be more than one dimension.
And here's the thing. Like, there are even villains who are unapologetically evil can have justifications that I understand even if I can't, like, even if I think they're wrong. Like, I think that, like, I think... unapologetically evil and then also, like, morally gray, like, there's a lot within there. I think if you have a villain who is just evil for the sake of being evil, it feels juvenile to me, and I tend to enjoy it less.
I think
they have their place in storytelling, especially, like, for children to learn a lesson. Yeah. But that's what it feels like, is it's like for children to learn a lesson. They feel like, they don't feel like a human being. They feel like a prop.
Or like you have a character like Sauron, who's not a character, right? Like, Sauron doesn't have a personality. I know the Rings of Power is going to give him one, but Sauron in the Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy, is not a personality. The Emperor in Star Wars, in the original trilogy, is not a person. He is a representation of an idea, which is why there are very few scenes with him. Yes. Right? We don't see what he's like with his... We never see the Emperor talk to a stormtrooper, because the goal of that character is not to humanize him and create this character. Yeah. It is to push the themes of the narrative that we're trying to push, right? George Lucas was trying to say that what the United States was doing in Vietnam, or had done in Vietnam, was bad. And... J.R. Tolkien was trying to reckon with what it was like to be a soldier in war, right? And what the evil of war was.
And industrialization and the all-consumingness of it,
Sauron represents something that cannot be personified. The Emperor a little bit less so, because, like, you know, the President of the United States can be personified. But, Sauron as an evil force represents something that I think that the Rings of Power TV show is going to learn this, isn't interesting in TV. I think that there is a limit on how much time you can spend with a character who is evil incarnate, because they are fundamentally one note if they're unapologetically evil. Because if they're going to be unapologetically evil, their choice in every scenario is limited to what is evil, right?
Yeah.
And that is why gray villains are better for television, and why I think that the majority of the villains on the show work so well is because you can watch scenes where Marco is talking to his son and go, God, he's a dick, and I genuinely think that he loves his son. It's just in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He loves what his son says about himself.
Sure, but there's a version of love there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there is a version of love between the two of those men.
It's just, like, warped.
Yes.
Right? Because he is a narcissist.
If you fully flesh out a character's backstory and they are still just evil, I think that it gets really hard to see them as existing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that... I have people who I hate in this world, and I don't think that they're purely evil, because I just don't think that actually exists outside of thematic storytelling.
Yeah, and like fantasy.
Or insanity, right?
Sure.
Or like a serial killer.
Yeah.
But, you know, some of my favorite serial killers, I think Bates Motel does a great job of turning Norman Bates from Psycho into a real person. And having him be a complicated individual with parts and things that aren't just being unapologetically evil. And you know, I do think it is one of the greatest strengths of the show is that it has some of the greatest antagonistic characters of any TV show ever. And 99% of them, and Mercury is kind of the only one that I don't think is true, feel like real people you can meet on the street tomorrow. Even
Avasarala tortures a guy in season 1.
That is the way that we meet her.
Yeah. That's the first thing that we know about
a guy on a hook.
Yeah.
It's so dark.
And using gravity to torture him. And she is the one of the protagonists. She's one of the good guys. Mm-hmm. But the complexity of human beings is very well represented in our protagonists and our villains in this show. Which I think is really difficult to do.
Well, and I remember, what's so funny about Avasarala is I remember not being the biggest fan of her season 1 storyline. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was like, what's going on? And the explanation that, she's not in book 1, and so all of it is just sort of tacked on. And I was like, oh yeah, it does feel that way. But the torturing the guy on the hook, I wonder if that's in the books. Because I actually don't know.
I don't know. I think that she does grow so much from season 1. Because even she acknowledges that she is not that person anymore.
And she brings it up later in a conversation. There's a conversation later on where she's like, I hung a belter on a hook one time and tortured him with gravity. And I wonder if that is in the book later on. And no, I don't want that answered, Razor. I won't read it.
These are hypothetical.
Hypothetically. I wonder if that is left.
Yeah.
I wonder if that is left
empty, hanging, or if it actually was, or if they made it for the show.
Yeah. Or if that conversation happens at that point in the book, and it is referencing something that they created in season 1, they were like, well, since she brings it up in later books, let's show it, and not just have it be a conversation that she has later on, is my thought.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about, seasons, or do we want to just get into questions and kind of, free flow it?
Yeah, there's a comment here, David Cooper brings up, who do you think is running the cobalt mines in the Congo? Mercury. I hear what you're saying. My problem is not that Mercury's a dick. My problem is when the story started to push them underground, Mercury became antagonistic towards the heroes in a way that never benefited him. Look, there are evil people in this world. The cobalt mining in the Congo is disgusting. And it is without a doubt the most difficult part of what is going on with EVs, right? The West is so desperate to electrify our vehicles, but we are not doing a good job of preserving the environment around where we are getting these materials from, and we are doing a heinous and immoral and absolutely unconscionable job taking care of the people who live there. Yeah. And I hear you 100%. My thing with Mercury wasn't really the beginning with him. It was that at every point that it got harder for them to live on that planet, he became more antagonistic towards the other heroes, and to the point where he destroyed his last dropship in order to fuck them over, leaving him without a way off the planet. Like, that side of the show didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And I think that you can be an asshole who still realizes that working together to get off this planet is better than not, and not, I'm gonna kill you while you're gonna go get this guy. While you're headed to go turn off the thing, I'm gonna fight you in the hallway for some reason. Like, I that side of his character, it's really the second half of his character that didn't work for me more than the first half.
For sure.
Ultimately.
Yeah.
There was never a turn where he was like, oh yeah, I would like to live. It seemed like he just was there to die.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he gets to live, so I guess it works out for him, but the rest of his life is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about him.
Thank you, David Cooper.
Yeah.
I am right.
Graph Shark says Tesla batteries are use almost no cobalt, and most manufacturers are moving that direction now too. Thankfully, that is not the solution though. Like,
unfortunately, the damage is done,
and it's ongoing. Like, it's definitely something that the government needs to do a better job of, and the Chinese government needs to do a better job of. The Chinese government owns a lot of those mines.
Yeah,
and
it's bad out there.
They swept in and bought them, and it's like, well, we can't. Part of the problem is, let's not get into it. It is really tough, and it makes me very mad at all governments, and my nihilism will poke
all
through.
Of them. Although, honestly, like, New Zealand seems to be okay. They've probably done some shit that I don't know about, but, like, they seem alright.
It does kind of feel like everything's awful, but, you know, The Expanse is a really good TV show.
It is!
And The Expanse gets us to the future. And so, like, let's just hope that this is the future. It's not that different from where we're at now. You know what? We're not really going in order. We kind of started going in order, but we're not really going in order. Let's answer these questions. I don't want to get to the point where we're exhausted and we don't get to all the questions.
No.
So let's get into the questions that are from the community, and we'll keep talking with chat. We'll do the whole thing. Rob Ross Pooh Bear says, considering how much The Expanse tries to stick to hard sci-fi and move away from the stereotypical depiction of space, did you enjoy moving from the popular sci-fi styles like Star Wars and Star Trek? How much did you learn about the physics of space travel that you never knew you wanted to know?
Well, I have to say, I am very glad that we had people like Rob Ross in our active Discord community helping explain things. And
because the show doesn't explain some things that I feel that are in the books, because it would be boring to be like 3 weeks later.
Well, but it also just says, like, this is how this functions.
Yeah.
And you don't need to know how. You can go Google it and take a physics class if you want more. Right? The show doesn't waste time on stuff that, like, is unnecessary. And like I said, I think that really helps with the blend between making it accessible for people, but also still making it real. I really enjoyed this show, I think, actually really did a wonderful job of helping me let go of my expectations of sci-fi, because it was either Star Trek or Star Wars before that. Those are like the two different vibes for it, and this felt very much its own thing, in a way that, like, I didn't realize the, like, expectations that I took into sci-fi regularly. And
I agree with that.
Right, it's things like where you just expect weird fucking jargon like hyperspace, hyperdrive, like things like that.
Well, I mean, the Epstein drive is jargon to me, but
yes, but I mean, there are terms and stuff in Star Wars and Star Trek, like phasers to stun. You, like, know what that means because of Star Trek, and The Expanse doesn't rely on these, like, sci-fi tropes that you might know just from, like, having watched sci-fi things, because it's like when you explain when you talked about video games, you're like, if you play video games in a certain era, you just know how to fish. They all use the same thing, and they rely on you, like, knowing this kind of thing.
Like, I feel like I could pick up any Mario game they ever make in the future, because I understand how a Mario game. I will probably understand where the buttons are. Yeah. And it's weird when a company's like, you know what? X is actually the shoot button in our game, and I'm like, no, it's the fucking trigger. It's been the trigger since Halo. It's been the trigger since before Halo. Just put it on the trigger, or else I'm gonna spend the first week of the game being frustrated with it.
But thankfully, this isn't a video game like that, and it kind of is like, no, we know you understand these, like, things about sci-fi that other people have done, and we're not gonna lean on that. We're not gonna rely on that. We're gonna have our thing, And I super appreciated the show, honestly, kind of shedding a light on my own like biases and expectations of sci-fi that were rooted in just growing up watching Star Wars and Star Trek.
Well, and it's something that's so funny right now because this conversation's happening with Star Wars today, right? Where people are like, there's fire in space in The Acolyte. And it's so wild because it's like, yeah, it's Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean,
like
Leia floats in space.
There's fire in space in the first Star Wars movie. Right? Like there's an explosion in space and there's fire. Yeah. Like, and so it's one of those weird things where people are like trying to use the expectations of The Expanse on Star Wars, and it isn't fair there. It doesn't make sense to do it to Star Wars, to be like, it was the same thing with the gravity of, they're like, how are bombs dropping in gravity in The Last Jedi? And I'm like, they're pushed down. I don't fucking know. Like, who cares? It's fucking Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what you care about in Star Wars, you're watching it wrong.
Yeah.
If that's what you care about in The Expanse, you're probably watching it right. But the show is meticulous, and I never felt taken out of it by the physics.
Yeah.
Here's why the physics in The Expanse are so good. I never felt taken out of the show by them. I only felt brought closer to the show by them.
Yes.
And when they weren't necessary to bring me closer to the show, they didn't matter. But when they did matter, going back to the Shed losing his head scene.
Yeah.
The sound design of the oxygen in that room, even more so than the gore, reminded you of the danger of space.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect moment, right? And so I think that depending on the property that you're watching, you have different expectations. I had really high expectations of The Expanse because season 1 was like, we are setting the bar high. And when a team says we're setting the bar high, I'm like, I'm going to hold you to the bar that you set. And I feel like they only raised the bar.
Yeah.
Even season 4, which, like I've said, it's not my favorite thing ever. The physics of the tow cable shit is the best part of that season.
Yeah.
Because the science of it, I could never understand.
Yeah.
But the tension, the emotional tension of them trying to tow the two ships and they're running out of fuel, that shit was fucking gas.
Yeah.
Right? Even though the like loss of the way the technology made them lose their fuel drive or whatever felt magical.
Sure.
The emotional tension that they built from that worked for me so well that I didn't care as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I totally hear that. I also, the second part of Rob Ross's question, how much did you learn about physics space travel that you never knew you wanted to know? I thought it was almost like having a, like, companion to the show.
Yeah.
Like the, like, after, like, explanations or, like, a little, like, side story. Because people in our community would be like, so, really cool. This is actually how that works. This is what they played with. These are the things. And I may not understand a lot of it, but I had fun, like, learning about it and also being excited about it with you guys, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and also we're just very lucky to have a community that is as dedicated to us not getting spoiled as we are.
Yeah.
You know, like I could very much see someone who doesn't have a Discord like ours trying to do what we did and being like, oh, I want to go talk with people on Twitter about it and getting spoiled immediately.
For sure, yeah.
Whereas like I
or Reddit,
just blocked every character name and The Expanse on Twitter so that they wouldn't come up.
Yeah. And
then I would only go to the Discord where, you know, and that is a privilege, right? Like we're very privileged in that I can create a room like my One Piece room in the Discord, and like I have people who will come tell me things about One Piece that I would never have known because it's hard to Google like facts that were online in 2006, you know?
Yeah.
And things that I don't know that our community knows. And it is a privilege to have a community that cares about us not getting spoiled. Like I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky about that. You know what I mean? And I want to acknowledge that our community is wonderful. And it's, you know, it's one of the reasons why, like, you know, there are ways in which we could grow. We could be a bigger YouTube channel in a lot of ways, right? Like we could make choices that would lend towards that, that we kind of intentionally don't make because our community's really great.
Yeah.
And, you know, like if we were to like talk less and react more and kind of like not do long bits at the end of the videos and kind of not really put our opinions out there, I think that we would actually get more views.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're more interested in cultivating the community of people that we have and like spending time in the conversation.
Yeah.
And the conversation's really the best part for me. And the community's the best part for me. And like the reaction less so.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why we don't kind of cater our reviews towards growth. Whenever people comment, like, if you did this, this, and this, you'd be a bigger YouTube channel, I'm like, oh, we know.
Yeah.
Like, we're very aware of the fact that if we just were less opinionated, we would be larger. Or if we were racist, we'd be larger. But we kind of like who we surround ourselves with.
Yeah.
And there's a reason our community is the way that it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is one of those interesting things where, people will come in and be like, you should just shut up and watch the thing. And it's like, well, okay, go watch someone else.
Yeah.
Who is just there to watch it, have a good time, and then turn it off. Like, no shade. Those people have a place as well. Some people just want someone to, like, watch a thing with, and, like, that's absolutely valid. I'm not going to change my content because it's for us as much as it's for you guys in a way. Like,
because it's our life.
Yeah. I don't want to sit there just being like, ooh, see you next week. Like,
Carson Bybreicher says the community is probably just a mirror of you. Probably a little bit, but I don't think that much. Our community's wild. Our community's
you guys are unhinged. No.
Well, and part of it is that, like,
we are also unhinged.
More so than any of the channels that I'm, like, friends enough with that I've seen their analytics. Because, you know, sometimes YouTubers will, like, show each other stuff like that, and I've done it. And, you know, the percentage of our audience that's American is one of the reasons why we don't get more brand deals. Is they want you to have like 50% American audience.
Yeah.
And ours is like 28. We have a like really international audience. Canada, the country we're in, is our 4th biggest country, which is wild to me. But it's like
that is wild to me.
It's the U.S., the UK, Mexico, then Canada, then Brazil, then the world, right? And it's like we have this really interesting. We do have people in Tehran. We have a really interestingly international audience in a way that I never expected us to have. I figured, we speak English, like it'll be mostly English-speaking countries.
Sure.
But I forget that like English is such a, so many countries I go to, people just kind of speak English. Anyone under like 25 typically knows at least a little bit of English now. Especially like Japan. Everyone in Japan that I met under the age of 25 speaks English. And so our audience is really international, which I find really fascinating. And I love, like, I love when people are like, hey, I'm in Denmark and I watch your videos at what's like 4 o'clock in the morning your time because of the,
Yeah, for sure. David Cooper says, do you really want to lose your title as the worst reactors on YouTube? No, I like earned that title. We fucking earned it, okay? It's not going anywhere.
We're gonna put out we're gonna do season 3 of Bridgerton. And I think I'm going to piss some people off with my takes on that, but it's going to be fun.
No, it's fun.
Yeah, Arzu lives in Belgium.
Yeah, and
Muddles lives in Denmark.
Yeah, and also Otter also lives in Belgium, I believe, as well. Like,
and I'm grateful. I'm grateful that our audience is international and that we have, as much as our audience could just be a bunch of white guys who look like me, because it's Nerdy Nightly, and that's what a lot of those channels have.
Right.
And I'm grateful that we're not a 99% male, 99% white audience show.
Yeah, I know, and I'm happy to like the Discord is such a fun place to see people's different experiences and like sharing those and like relating them to like the art that we're watching because like every human is going to have their own lived experience, but if you've never left the United States of America, there's going to be a lot of similarities there that you're not going to have in India or in Tehran or like wherever you are, and I think that that's really fucking cool. I think that's really, really, really.
We also
awesome.
really love to piss off our international audience. I'm looking at you, India.
Yeah.
It's fine. RR only has 500,000 views. It's fine. Let's get into the next question. Skeptical Mario says, "How much did you not learn that you did know that you wanted?" Wait, okay.
How much did you not learn that you did know that you wanted to know? How much did you not learn
that you did know that you wanted to know? Sometimes y'all are the worst. You know what? I just said we had a great community. Fuck you guys. Rob Ross Pooh Bear says, "There's so many little details and Easter eggs in the show. Are you considering a rewatch?" I'll definitely rewatch it in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know that it'll happen this year.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
The answer is yes.
I don't know. I would love to do a rewatch. I think that I want to wait until I read the books, and then I want to rewatch it after I've read all 9 books.
Yeah. And
see like how reading the books, because like I could watch it now and just enjoy it, but I think that watching it after I read the books would be a really fun. I don't know that we do that for content because I don't know that it would be very. It would kind of become what Wheel of Time reactions are, which is just me complaining about what they changed.
I don't think we would react to things. I think we would do a watch-along style.
Oh, something like that. Or just like we would like do like watch-alongs for just the finales.
Yeah, something along those lines. Definitely want to rewatch, but yeah, after the books.
But I think I will happily rewatch the show. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I do agree. There's so many little reasons to rewatch that come from the show itself.
Yes.
Arzu says, are you afraid that reading the books will ruin the enjoyment of the show the way it turned out with the Wheel of Time? Here's the thing. I think the Wheel of Time is not a good TV show. I don't think the Wheel of Time is necessarily the worst adaptation ever.
Well,
there's a difference because The Expanse is a good TV show on its own, and if there are things that are changed,
I'm fine with that. You say that, but we enjoyed season 1 of the show. Like, we gave it, I think, like, we gave the finale, like, the worst score out of all of it, but the show overall, we gave, like, a 7 or, like, an 8 out of 10. And then reading the books definitely shed a light on things that, like, were good, that then turned worse in season 2.
I did not like the finale the first time.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
No, but my point is, I didn't like I already wasn't in love with the show. And I don't know, I feel like things have changed for me in that when the Wheel of Time was first coming out, this is going to sound bad, but I do feel a little bit like the YouTube channel blew up in a way that was exciting. And there was like a fun element of it being the thing that was driving the growth of our show, of our life.
Yeah.
And we went from... So the Wheel of Time TV show is the reason we went from not paying our bills comfortably to paying our bills comfortably. Realistically. And the Nerdy Wordy Book Club. Mm-hmm. And there was an element of going from kind of struggling to get a video to do well on YouTube and having a couple that did well but not really much traction to the Wheel of Time was a hit show for us where we were doing better every week. And I do wonder a little bit, going back and watching season 1 again, how much of my enjoyment of the Wheel of Time was the fact that it was in a time where we were not doing great, giving us potential. Does that make sense?
And it was also the new fantasy thing that we got after, like, not really having gotten any reasonably good fantasy for a while, at least that I had experienced. I think that is absolutely fair to be a part of it because, like, you know, I'm pretty sure I gave, excluding the finale, season 1 of The Wheel of Time like an 8 out of 10. But we acknowledged things that we didn't love about it, but I scored it like that because I remember just feeling so much joy. I
also will hold now that I think Wheel of Time season 1 is better than season 2.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, I think season 2 is a worse product.
Yep, absolutely.
I think it's dumber. I think it is, like, more convenient for less reason.
Yep, I agree.
There's a lot of things that Also, season 1 has the better action sequences with the blood snow. I feel like Land's combat was better shot in season 1.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, look, I don't think the first season of Wheel of Time is the worst thing ever.
No.
I think there's good stuff in there. I like the step-in plot more than other people do. Like there's stuff like that. I get why it's unnecessary, but I think season 2 is the wrong direction to head from season 1. Mm-hmm. And so the books I feel like had less of an impact than this show, which I think is just good throughout.
Well, and that's the thing, is, like, The Expanse is just phenomenal on its own. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, The Wheel of Time, like, regardless of how our feelings about, like, it, like, doing well and, like, us hyping ourselves up, like, The Wheel of Time show was good. So, most of the time.
But even still, I was... we don't need to talk about the Wheel of Time. Let's not talk about the Wheel of Time. Let's talk about the Expanse. I want to talk about the good shit here. I don't want to relitigate that. We'll do that again when season 3 drops.
It was just more, like, in regards to the question.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have that same fear. They feel very different to me.
I would love if the Expanse was different enough that I could... Yeah, I have seen Battlestar Galactica. I love Battlestar Galactica. I know the end. I know people don't love the ending. I get it. I understand why. Mm-hmm. I don't think Battlestar Galactica holds up the way The Expanse does the entire way through. But I love that show. I really do. I think the remake. I've never seen the original Battlestar. I've only seen the Edward James Olmos, Katie Sackhoff reboot.
Yeah.
And I think it is excellent. But it falls off a little bit at the end. Which Expanse doesn't. I don't know. I just think The Expanse is the TV show is so good on its own.
Yeah.
That. And it's 6 seasons, and like the ending nails it.
Yeah.
Where I would be shocked if the books ruined that somehow, because I don't know that the books could be so good that this being as good as it was would be a disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that the difference is that like The Expanse finished as a show.
Yeah.
And like we loved how it ended, whereas like The Wheel of Time is ongoing, and I don't know what they're gonna do or where it's gonna go, and so that is a bit different.
I have legitimate arc concerns with how they're handling the Wheel of Time.
Yeah, exactly.
I have one of the big differences I think between The Expanse and the Wheel of Time is The Expanse doesn't structure itself around the end fight from the very beginning, right? And so the Wheel of Time as a series is about getting Rand from the Two Rivers to fighting the Dark One. And they tell you that in the prologue, right? Mm-hmm. Like they tell you that at the beginning. This is a story about how this kid is going to beat the Dark One. And so the show has to build that trajectory in a way that like works. And I don't think they've done that at all. Like I think that Rand has so far to go and he hasn't started yet, and they're at the end of season 2. Whereas The Expanse, by having it be these sort of more like book-centric narratives, I also think the Wheel of Time books aren't good at this, which is why they fall apart. Right? Like, I think the Wheel of Time show runs out of steam because it doesn't really know what to do with all of its things at a certain point, and it just becomes muddled. And I think that Robert Jordan got lost in the sauce. Whereas these books are like, book 1 through 3 is a story, it's done. Yeah. Book 4 through 6 is a story, it's done, and then we get to the next bit. And I think that what's successful about the TV show is that it tells the individual stories well. Not really in one season, right? Like, book 1 is season 1 to 2.5.
Yeah.
And then season 2.5 to 3 and to 4 is like another season, is another book.
Yeah.
I understand that like it's broken down a little bit differently, but the internal narrative of those things works so well that I would be surprised if the books were able to ruin the show in any way. It would be other than being different.
Impressive if they were able to do that.
And honestly,
I can't see it happening.
I think the person who impacted the adaptation the most was the actor who played Alex. And I don't want to talk about him much because like fuck the guy. But what he did and the position that he put the show in really sucks, right? Yeah. And so the books 6, 7, and 8, 9 are going to feel very different because Alex is going to be alive in a way that he isn't in the final season of the show because of his actions. Mm-hmm. And like that just fucking sucks, man. Yeah. I'm glad we didn't know that in episode 1 because we didn't find out about the Alex, whatever that actor's name is. I didn't find out about that until we were actually already reacting to season 5. Yeah. So I only knew about that. I don't know when you found out, but I only knew about that for 3 or 4 episodes of reactions before the death. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't. And it didn't impact the whole show because it might have. I don't know what that experience would have been like if I'd known the whole time. Yeah, that would have been unfortunate. Because I love Alex as a character. And I can't wait to read book Alex. I know. I like that he's a shitty dad, and they don't try and fix that. Yeah. Right? I love that he's consistent in it, and it's a great. He's not a perfect hero, but he's a great character. It sucks that the guys did what he did. I know. Yeah. Skeptical Mario asks, who are the top 1 to 3 actors you want to see more of due to their performances in The Expanse? Naomi Nagata. Oh, yeah. Danielle. Danielle? Oh, my God. It's been a while since we've done this. Names? I'm just going to pull up everybody's names. I don't think her name's Danielle. I think that is... Expanse. I always call her Danielle, and her name isn't Danielle. It's, yeah. Oh, there's no star in there. No, that's not. Dominique Tipper. I would love to see more Dominique Tipper. Yeah. I think she's wonderful. She's so fucking good. Yeah. Season 5 is her season, and she owns it so fucking hard. Yeah. And there's so many scenes in season 5 where Dominique is just alone on that ship. And she is unreal. Like, the fact that she didn't get nominated for an Emmy is a tragedy to me. Yeah. I cannot understand that. Her season 5 performance is one of the great TV performances in my mind. Yep. I would also say, I would say Cara Gee. I would love to see Cara Gee. Absolutely. 100%. I think that she's so wonderful. Mm-hmm. I think that there's so much room for her to do something really interesting. Obviously, I was hoping for more of Wes Chatham in Ahsoka. I think that was really a wasted casting to put him in a mask and have him literally not do anything the whole season. I know. Because he's also freaking incredible. I'm trying to think. You know what? Philip Josiah Owens. I would really like to see him in stuff.
I was going to say I would love to see, like, Marco play a hero type.
Yeah.
Because he has that charisma, and they used it as, like, the bad guy charisma. But,
yeah.
But then also, like, I don't know. I also loved Bobby so much that I'm like,
yeah.
literally everybody who worked on this fucking show, give them more jobs, please. Cara Gee is in Letterkenny? Fuck off.
No, she's not. Oh, we have to watch Letterkenny.
Damn, all right.
What is Frankie Adams up to?
Dunno.
The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart came out last year.
Miniseries? Sure.
Oh, she's in Next Goal Wins. Oh, she was in Mortal Engines?
Dunno.
We should watch Mortal Engines.
Yeah, I don't know it.
You should react to Mortal Engines.
Why?
It is one of the most insane movies. I actually didn't mind the book as much. I enjoyed the book. I was excited for the movie, and the movie's kind of a letdown, but it's so insane that it's tough to say, like, Shora Agdashalu, because it's like she's
done,
working. I'm not worried about seeing her in more stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Thomas Jane. I'm not worried about Thomas Jane showing up in more things, right? Like, he's the Punisher. I can go watch movies Thomas Jane stars in.
Look at Baby Holden.
I know.
Ah! He's so young. Oh my god.
He has done one movie since The Expanse that's not out yet.
Oh, cool. Okay.
After 6 seasons, he might have been like, I need a break.
Which, like, fair.
Yeah.
You made your money. You did good. Take a fucking break.
But yeah, no, I think my top 3 would be Cargie, Dominique Tipper, and Wes Chatham, with Frankie Adams, Bob Draper being number 4. You know what? Simu Liu. Simu Liu was, I feel like he's got to be in something eventually.
Yeah,
right?
I feel like he deserves to be in some stuff. He needs a breakout role, you know?
Shang-Chi did so well, and I feel like the only hit he's had since then is Barbie, because he's in that Atlas movie that just dropped on Netflix, which is a huge flop.
Oh, okay.
And it's apparently like one of the worst movies Netflix has ever dropped.
Oh no.
And like I feel like he hasn't really had like hits, and there was the whole narrative coming out of Barbie that nobody liked him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's true.
I don't know.
It like that could just be bullshit. But I feel like Simu Liu, I thought after, because I love Shang-Chi. It's my favorite Marvel Phase 4 thing. I thought if that movie he was gonna like blow up, and it just feels like he's been in a bunch of like weird movies that just haven't hit. But like Atlas, like if I was him, I'd be like, yeah, I'll do a movie with Halle Berry. Like,
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
I would take that.
It's just wild that it never really like he hasn't. It feels like he's just having a hard time getting hits going after Shang-Chi.
Yeah, which is unfortunate
because like Kim Means is great.
I love him. I think he's so fun. He's
a Toronto boy.
Yeah, represent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Samantha A says Atlas wasn't bad if you view it as a B movie, so that's okay.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
We have not reacted to the Orville. I've
never seen it. I've seen clips on TikTok, but I've never seen the show.
I have watched season 1 of the Orville, and I loved it. And then I did not have time.
Is the Orville still going?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Really?
They're fucking crushing it. Like,
how many seasons is
they struck gold with that show. Genuinely, I hope it goes on forever, because like.
Well, I remember when Adrienne Palicki would like, I think she left Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for it.
Really?
And I was like, wow, that's such a bad idea. And then now, oh no, it's only got 3 seasons.
Yeah, but they're getting a 4th.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, that's what I think chat was just talking about, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. The season 3 finale says Future Unknown.
I mean,
the name of the season 3 finale is Future Unknown, so I don't know if they're going to get a 4th.
No, I think that was what people were saying, but I don't know. I don't have a source, so.
Next question is Sean Ashaman. Speaking of Wheel of Time, based on what you saw in the show, which characters' POVs are you most interested in reading in the books? Is it a POV book? Oh, for some reason I just pictured it being third person. Weird. I haven't thought about it being from characters' POVs. Clarissa? The stuff. Oh, you know what I'm really interested in is the stuff that I know happens in the books that was cut for time, right? Like I'm really interested in the Clarissa Mouse setup before she takes before she like fucks with the ship. Because apparently there's a lot of setup for her that's not in the show that is in the books.
Yeah.
And because I love her later on.
Yeah, we missed the context in the beginning for her.
So good at when Peaches is such a great character. Yeah. And I love her when she becomes Peaches and that version of her. And, everything after she gets out of the prison, really, is so fantastic.
Yeah.
And before that with Amos. But, like, particularly after the prison, her moral quandary in season 6 is so fucking delicious.
Yeah.
And so I would really love to read the backstory stuff that was cut. Because I haven't gotten to read it.
Yeah, no, I definitely want more of her, for sure. I would be super curious if we get a Philip POV.
Or Marco. Marco and Naro's POV would actually be really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Ashford.
Oh,
I want to be in that man's head.
Yeah, that's fair.
That sounds fun.
Do you think the proto-molecule gets a POV?
Ooh, or like a kid as they're turning.
Oh God, what the fuck? Why a child?
Yeah, because they're all kids. The ones that we see turn.
Oh, you mean into the soldiers?
Into the proto-molecule things.
That's what I mean. Like in season 1, they just kind of,
season 2
on Eros.
Prax. It would be nice to have Prax back. I'm so glad they got him in the finale for that little bit that they did.
I know.
Hey, Wildly Coyote, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you so much for that super chat.
Shout out to costumer Joanne Hansen and Christian Alvarez's outfits. Absolutely.
Oh my God, honestly though, like just unreal. Every time she walks on screen, we're like, holy fucking shit, that drip. Thank you for the super chat.
Drip.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, all the costumes are great though. Like, because a lot of them are very functional, but they're all very in the world. I felt like Aaron Wright had a lot of, and Mao had a lot of suit designs that felt futuristic.
Yeah.
And very cool. I really liked the way they handle all that. Steven Strait, his suit from the finale when he's giving away at the end when he's giving everything to Drummer. I really like that suit. It felt futuristic and fun and different. In a way that was just great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but there's a lot of scenes with a lot of belters on screen, and they're in costume. They're in they're not in just. It's not bring your clothes to work and be an extra, which is a lot of the extra work that I've done. It's that
like,
real costuming
where
let's costume 40 belters is a insane thing for a costuming house to do, especially on a season 1. Later on, it gets easier because you accumulate stuff as you go on.
Yeah.
But the costuming throughout is great.
100%. Sean Ashman also asked, since it does take a few episodes to get into the show, what most impressed both of you about how the overall show progressed?
I mean, the scope is so fun, right? Like in season 1, I was like, I don't really understand why we're like spending time with the leader of the UN.
Right.
And then by season 3, I was like, oh yeah, it makes sense that our main characters would talk to the president of Mars. That's a phone number they would have.
Yeah.
And the way that we got from point A to point Z just made sense. The escalation didn't feel unearned.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm most impressed by.
No, I agree. I think that is a huge part of it.
It's a problem I have a lot in D&D where like characters always get to talk to the king, and that's not like how life works. You know what I mean? Like that's not how kingdoms worked.
Yeah.
You don't just get to talk to the king. You're usually talking to some minor lord or somebody who handles that stuff, and explaining why your main characters get to talk to the king in something like this is hard to do. It's hard to make that feel natural, and I feel like The Expanse always did.
Yeah, I really want to commend the show for never relying on like silly drama to create tension in the show.
Especially when it wouldn't have been silly, right? Like I think that Naomi and Holden could have had more relationship drama when she leaves him, and the show was like, no, Holden understands.
Yeah, they're adults and they have compassion for one another because they love one another. Like sometimes I swear to God when I watch shows, I'm like, those people don't love one another based on how they treat each other. I think that I see it all the time where like writers just rely on things that I think are silly or superficial. For the tension, and I don't care for that, and I'm very impressed that the show never did that.
Yeah, and even like what's so interesting outside of Murtry, interestingly, is the interplanetary it's not racism, but prejudice.
Xenophobia.
The xenophobia is often dropped in scenes by characters acknowledging what the scene is about. Right? And like you have a lot of scenes in this where you have people who should not like each other who end up working together because they are rational.
Yeah.
And it's wild, but like there's something about them being in space that makes it feel like they have to be rational because their lives are life and death more often than not. And so it's like, I hate you. But if this ship explodes, we die. Like there's no, we can't leave. So we have to be okay until we get somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's something about that caused the tension of the interplanetary prejudices to bubble and simmer in a way that couldn't boil over because it would mean death.
Yeah.
But allowed for the tension to feel very natural at times.
Yeah.
Like when, the reporters are on board and they're being the worst, or the reporter whose name I will never know. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God, I know.
She's so good.
She's great. And I can never remember her name for the fucking life of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, which is just unfortunate because she's wonderful.
It's so funny that
she does such a good job.
I would love to see her in more stuff.
Fair.
Give me a rom-com with her. I think she'd be great.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Snowwolfa asks, I'm curious to know what each of your favorite episodes were from the entire series.
Oh boy.
Episode 4.
Oh, Monica. Yeah.
Monica.
Thank you,
it's the name that you guys keep telling me, and
this
I will
why
never
we
remember.
Keep you around.
I will never remember it. Monica. Oh, sorry. Episode 4. Up there. It's hard to remember.
Episode 4? Here's the thing.
It's the like Martian ship getting attacked and them taking off into Canterbury.
Oh.
It's the moment where the show really starts.
Okay. Everything blends together in
I am
head.
that guy.
Yeah.
The turn and burn with the nuke. That moment is like unreal.
Oh, yeah.
All 6 of episodes, season 6 episodes are kind of all bangers.
That is true. I couldn't just name all of season 6.
The final episode of season 5 is incredible.
I'm gonna say
the mid episode in season 3. That's the end of book 2.
Yes, that was the one. That one stands out to me.
It's hard to remember like the exact episode number and name, but like that one. I Am That Guy is a pretty good one.
Yeah, because I just, you know what? I was definitely like sad when Prax left.
I loved him and I'm glad that like we ended up with the Peaches Amos relationship to kind of replace it, but the Prax Amos relationship was so beautiful to me.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. I missed him a lot.
Yeah.
Bobby Getting to the Ocean was really good.
Oh God. Yeah, I forgot about oh my God, there's so many good ones. It is a problem.
Yeah.
Did you drop the merch link in chat?
It's in the description down below.
Oh, it's in the description.
Yeah, if you want the shirt.
Great.
There's shirts, mugs, coasters. You can get your shit.
If you want merch, go get it. The episode where it's Naomi alone in the ship, having nearly just died, and like coming up with the most bonkers way to try and save the Rocinante. Like I was like, what is she doing? What's going on? Like Naomi Nagata operates on a level that us mere mortals can only hope to aspire to, you know?
I think it's season 2 or 3, but when Bobby fist fights the protomolecule alien thing in her power suit, that moment. Oh, the Mao's yacht. When they're the fighting on Mao's yacht. Yeah. That whole sequence is so good.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Oh God.
Oh,
there's so many good ones. I don't know how to pick.
The first time they go, the Simu Liu episode is actually great.
True.
When they first go into the little planet inside the rings.
Thing, yeah.
That episode's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doors and Corners. Oh my God, great episode.
Oh
Miller's death episode. There's just so many. It's so many. Like it's tough because it's like there's
I don't know how to pick
so many.
I know.
But those are a lot of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
Catharak says, which characters do you think will still be alive at the end of the book series? I don't know because I don't know if there's a time jump. Because I could see it ending like 40 years later. But at the end of at the end of this period of the books, most of them, I don't know. I don't feel like this series kills people that often.
No.
I could see Drummer dying.
God, I hope not.
She's she likes to get in the shit. I could see Holden dying.
Yeah.
He's a sacrificial boy.
I don't know. I mean, like, the end of the season 6, it's like, maybe he's not even in those books.
No, he is.
He can't stay away.
He gets wrapped up in it somehow.
Yeah. I don't know. Fuck. Who would I think?
A lot of them. I think Avasarala might die.
Yeah, that one was on my mind. She's also older.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think Holden can die. I think it's like one of those, he can't stay away, and I think that does come back.
I also love the idea of him, like, and Naomi having kids. You know what I mean?
I know, right? And, like, actually, like, showing, like, the relationship between, like, an Arthur and a Belter, and that it's not, like, a horrible thing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Blue says, which portrayal of the antagonist did you enjoy the most? I mean, we kind of talked about it already, but I think, like, Ashford and Marco are kind of the two...
Definitely.
Are my two favorite antagonists.
Yes.
And, Ashford becomes a hero, and Marco becomes I feel like they both kind of start in a similar place. Mm-hmm. Obviously, when we meet Marco, he's already, like, too much of a villain, but I mean a little place in that their reasons for being villains come from a similar place.
Yeah.
And Ashford becomes more compassionate and more human in a way, and Marco leans the other way.
My favorite episode is the one where Carmina and Ashford have to work together to survive. That is my favorite episode. I can definitely 100% say
when
that.
they're both stuck?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Remember when I was like, oh my god, as soon as they move, they're going to die from the... I was so convinced that Ashford was going to die to save Carmina.
Yep. Yeah.
Apollo Juniors says the books, by virtue of their medium, are able to focus on minute details and POV characters' thoughts more so than television. What moments from the story are you most looking forward to revisiting in a different format, and why?
A different format.
A lot of the political stuff. I feel like the political meetings can have more points of view when you don't have to worry about how many actors you have to pay lines to.
Exactly. And, like, I did make that one comment near the end of the show where it's like, all the men want to go to war and all the women are like, yo, chill the fuck out. Like, I think that those board meeting scenes can have a lot more nuance in a novel.
It's just to be honest, it is complicated to write boardroom scenes because you have to pay because of television budgeting, right? Sometimes you want to have different points of view in an episode of TV, and you television is literally limited in how many points of view an episode can have by how many principals you're able to pay. Yeah, and TV writers are really aware of this fact. I worked on an episode of a show called Person of Interest, and it's season 3, episode 11, Lev. And it's in the late 80s, early 90s. It's a flashback to the lead, the guy who was in Fallout. And I play one of his, like, 2 childhood best friends. And they were like, we can't pay you to have lines in this scene, unfortunately, because we're over budget. Yeah. And so my, like, role was to drink this milkshake all day. And it was fine. It sucked because, like,
because you're lactose intolerant.
Well, they could see they were like, you actually need to kind of be sipping or else it just looks weird. Yeah. And I was like, that's fine. So I ended up drinking like 5 of these milkshakes. I did not feel well. I was so sick afterwards. And I'm grateful to have been a very, 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 very small part of Person of Interest while it was on television. It's cool. I like that the scene exists. I like being able to see myself when I'm young and baby-faced. But yeah, the director was like, "You're great. We really like you, but we can't. We literally don't have the money to give you a line in the scene." Yep. And sometimes television is just like that. I had a similar experience with another TV show where, like, I was in the pilot and I was supposed to be a speaking character in the show when it got picked up, but when they picked it up, they moved it to LA and they didn't want to fly me out. They didn't want to move anyone to LA, so they didn't bring any of the cast from the pilot except for the lead 4. Yeah. One of the hardest phone calls of my life. But you move on. You live with it, and you kind of just deal with the fact that it didn't go. And, like, my life would be very different if that television show had...
Could you imagine?
You know what I mean? Like, I would have been a speaking, recurring person on a TV show. And
I would probably never have met. You wouldn't have taken a cruise ship gig.
Like... Yeah, no, my acting career is filled with those almost moments. And all of them have to do with budgeting. It's not like I've never had an experience in TV and film. I've had some in theater where people are like, we don't like you. And I have some directors I'll never work with again because fuck them. But, whoa.
Hey!
I didn't know that exists. If you buy stuff, there's an alert.
Yeah! Flip and Burn got a Carmina motherfucking...
Let's go! That's cool!
Drummer coaster. Let's go. That's so cool.
And so, yeah, a lot of my career has been almost, unfortunately. But the cool side of it is that I've had a very good career and I'm very lucky. But a lot of it is budget. A lot of it really comes down to they really want more people to talk, and you just can't afford to. It's really complicated, and it's union stuff, and it comes down to that.
Yeah, that's why like the books don't that's why I think different stories belong in different mediums. I think adapting one-to-one never makes sense. That's why I think it's really cool to have shows that exist on their own and books that exist on their own that are like inspired by one or the other. But for this book in particular, those POV characters in particularly the boardroom scenes and stuff, you're not restrained by budgeting stuff when you're writing a book.
Yeah.
You are telling the story that you want to tell. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
And I'm excited for some of the belter scenes where like there's one on the Nauvoo where it feels like there's a lot of belters chiming in. And I would love to see the belters like points of view. And because we kind of get a few of the gangs' points of view, not gangs, that's the factions' points of view. And I would love to like get to know more of the factions of the belters and
interesting.
Like what their relationships are as factions to one another. I think that's stuff I really want from the book.
I also would love a POV of the guy who is friends with Philip.
Yeah, who he kills.
Brother is he helps place the bombs.
Yeah.
And then is like, I think I killed my brother.
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to? How do I cope with that? Those kinds of like small stories within the larger narrative, I hope we get a little more detail on.
Oh, there's so many of those. Like, there's so many people who's like small parts.
The kids who get like that one boy who gets basically super soldiered up. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my god, right? Yeah, no, there's
such a rich universe of characters, honestly. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah, definitely.
The next question is...
Blue!
No, we did that one already. Oh, no, yeah, blue again.
That one.
If you were to get your hands on a legitimate salvage Martian warship, what would you name it? What would you name it?
What would I name my spaceship?
Yeah.
I would probably name it after a dragon.
I'm shocked.
I wasn't trying to be shocking.
What would I name my starship?
Balerion.
Why?
The Black Dread.
But why that?
It's a big-ass dragon. Guys, I named my cat Saphira. Like, I don't, like... I'm very predictable. I don't know.
I don't know. That is so hard.
Yeah, that's a tough question.
I want to say that I'd come up with something cool, but I know that it would be something dumb.
It would be called the Penultimate.
The Penultimate's pretty good.
The Penultimate. Yeah.
Yeah, or like... I would probably do something dumb, like translate Aquaman into Arabesh, and then like have that be the name.
Sure, yeah.
I know myself. I'd do something cheesy.
Yeah. That's 100%, yeah.
Just call it the Kara Karn.
Mr. Smith found you in Person of Interest.
Oh, yeah. It's not hard. It's very obviously me.
I still get people being like, were you in The Boys? And I'm like, yes. It's like half a second, but like, you just like,
I get Jessica Jones.
Oh, yeah.
There's a park scene where she, like, walks by me, and it's just, like... not so much anymore,
pretty
but...
obvious, yeah.
That one's one where you can see me. There's a lot of episodes of the first season of Smash where you can see me, but the end of episode 8, there's like a shot of me dancing by myself in a crowd scene that's very funny.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up?
Hey,
Nature Boy, thank you for
Thank
picking
you
up a Kamina thing.
Some Expanse merch. You love
Let's go. Live Shame Die
it.
Empty.
I love that that's there. I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. God, what would I... No, okay. Talk about what would you use your ship for while I try and find the actual name that I would go with.
Okay. What would I use my warship for? Well, what are warships good for that are not war? I
mean, I wouldn't be in space, so I don't think that this would happen.
That's
I would
true.
find it on Earth. I would live in it. It would be my house. I would turn it into a tiny home. That wouldn't be tiny. It would be a massive home.
Just an Earth ship, like...
Yeah. People don't understand how big planes are, and I find it very funny.
Oh, God,
but, like, planes are so massive.
Massive.
And a spaceship would have to be so large.
I, like, don't know what I would use a spaceship for. Like, maybe, like, racing. I don't know. Like... I don't even fucking drive, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't be piloting the ship.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would use it for a cosplay.
Maybe I'd call my ship Alderaan Places.
Jesus Christ. Shocked.
Oh, or you could be like trolly with it and call it like Epstein's Island.
No.
Some things I just say to get a reaction out of my wife.
No. Do not do that.
Oh God, I'm thinking of just the worst things to name it.
Jesus Christ.
Right.
I would use my warship for space orgies. 100%.
Just call it the Amos.
Just fuck around in zero gravity.
That sounds fun, honestly.
Right?
Oh, it sounds fun for the person
war.
getting fucked, but for the person doing the like thrusting, where do you get leverage from? It seems like it'd be really hard.
You gotta get good.
I don't know. That's getting good part.
No, you gotta get good.
Damari says, "What's Avasarala's most iconic outfit in your opinion?" Ooh.
I don't fucking know. I can't separate them all in my head. It's the
suit. It's the when she's in the racing suit. That is the most iconic outfit because it's different.
Sure.
And she looks so fucking good.
Yeah.
That like, and when I think of Avasarala and I go iconic, it is her in the fucking Firestorm racing suit.
Yeah.
That's or the yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I will agree with that. Arzu asks, were you as heartbroken to see the polycule breakup as I was? Yeah, that sucked, man.
Yeah.
These poor people. They just want to be in space and fuck and be happy, and they can't do those things.
But I totally, like, it's so sad because they were trying to protect her.
I know.
In a way that, like, she didn't want to be protected, but she was a liability.
Yeah, and then that guy lost his arm.
Yeah, like, fuck, that was hard. It was hard. That was really heartbreaking. All of Drummer's stuff is heartbreaking.
I know.
None of Drummer's stuff is happy.
No.
Because she's clearly in love with Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't get Naomi. Fucking Ashford dies. Like, sure, she gets, like, the best job at the end, but her, like, life, everything leading up to that sucks.
Yeah.
Bogdan Danbog says, given that Amos is one of your favorite characters, the favorite character, let's be correct about it, how do you think the concept of good men don't need rules applies to him? Is he a good man? Does he not follow rules? Or does he just have a very strict code of rules that he follows to a T because he's a good guy?
No, that's the whole point of his character. Is that he doesn't know what morality is and what the rules are, and he finds somebody that he believes to be a good man, and he learns from that.
But he follows his rules. I really think he does.
What are his rules? His rules are
change day to
do
day.
what this guy says, or do what Naomi says.
Yeah, at the beginning, but by the end, I feel like Amos really is his own guy in a way. Oh my God, Playwork Sleeve! Thank you for buying a snapback.
Thank you.
We're gonna have so much Live Shame Die merch out there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Repping it in the world.
I feel like end of show Amos knows what his rules are.
I don't think so. I think that his time with Clarissa, getting her out of the prison, proves that to him. That's why he goes back to the Rocinantes, because he doesn't know how to figure it out on its own. And like that self-awareness and being able to recognize it is so commendable and so humbling, and he doesn't take it to be an insult.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I know what my strengths are, but I also know what my weaknesses are. He's not a good man, but he wants to be, and therefore follows good men.
I just don't agree about the not a good man part. I think he's a very good man. I think the world is just really hard.
That's fair.
Like, because here's the thing. I never once saw Amos cause suffering unnecessarily in that entire show. I never saw him be cruel. Right? I would never describe him as being... I don't think he enjoyed any of it.
Here's the thing.
He kills people, but it also depends on if you think...
He is good in the sense that he wants to do good and he makes the choice to want to and to try to. But, like, it's one of those things where it's like, do you believe a person is good because they understand morality inherently or because they choose to actively try and better themselves by, like, listening to, like... people they believe are good men? I don't know. That's a weird thing, right?
I think the difference between me and Amos is that I don't live in a zombie apocalypse. But if I lived in a zombie apocalypse, I think, and maybe I'm not a good man, and that might be me trying to say that I'm a good man. But if I lived in a zombie apocalypse, I would kill people probably pretty often.
You'd be forced to.
And I know that about myself, right? Like, I am not... And part of it is I'm not religious, and I don't have any, like, God-given morality.
Sure.
And my morality is treat people well, but treat the people you care about the most better, right? Like, if you're in my inner circle, and you are in danger, the person putting you in danger dies. And that is... And, you know, that is my morality, right? Is, like, I would not feel bad in that situation because you were in danger or my family was in danger, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think that, like, my morals are not tested because I live in Canada.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever... But that's not true. I've been in fights and I'm an asshole when I'm in a fight. And I think that that's why I know that. Is I'm like, I know that I will grind somebody's face against a stone wall because I've done it.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't like that about myself, maybe. But, like, I also know that, like, if in a world where it would be necessary, I would behave that way. Because I'm not going to let you get hurt. Right?
Yeah.
And so I think that I relate to Amos a lot in that. Because there are people who are like, oh, I could never. And I'm like, no, I could.
Yeah.
There is no iota in my being that's like, I could never hurt somebody. I have hurt people. And I would again. But that situation does not come up in my life. And so I don't need to behave that way.
Right.
Because I live very comfortably in a very comfortable city. And, you know, I'm beyond privileged.
Well, and Amos is partially the product of his privilege or lack thereof, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And which is why he's such a fascinating character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, I always watch zombie movies, and there's always a character that people are like, you're going too far, Shane. You don't need to kill them. And I'm like, nah, I'm a Shane. Fuck those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that I am kinder to Amos because I think I see my morality in him. There's just never... I don't need to act out in that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Dan, thank you for getting the mug. Oh my God, y'all, with the merch purchases. Thank you.
You guys are the best.
Seriously, that means a lot. I love that alert is there to tell us.
I don't know. I do think that I know most people wouldn't be comfortable killing somebody. And I don't think I would care that much. If you were in danger, I wouldn't... It wouldn't keep me up at night.
I don't know. I think if you were if you were face to face with someone, like, I think that you would still do that, but you have such a guilty conscience that I believe that it would haunt you.
I would be but my guilty conscience would be, am I going to jail? If we were in a zombie apocalypse and there isn't a government system...
You are kept awake at night by the sufferings of people around the world that you don't even know. They didn't try and hurt you. I mean...
there is a big difference between innocent people dying making me sad and someone who tried to hurt you. In my brain, that is a very clear distinction. I would have a guilty conscience while I go through the self-defense trial, and then when I get off at the end of the self-defense trial, and they're like, yeah, it was self-defense. He was saving his wife. From that point on, I wouldn't give a shit. My guilty conscience extends to, oh, am I going to get in trouble for this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it's like about, what the circumstances are.
I wouldn't lie awake being like, oh, you know what? I really should have let that guy kill my wife. It wouldn't bug me at all.
No, I just mean more with like obviously if someone was about to like kill somebody that I loved, like I think that there's a lot of people that would retaliate like that. But you just are like in a zombie apocalypse, like, you know, it is that question of morality, like how far does it go? Like, are you gonna kill people to take what they have to stay alive? Like, does that count? I don't know.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. But again, that is my line, right? Like, I can survive in the woods by myself. Mm-hmm. I was in Boy Scouts long enough that I think that I would be okay for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't need to take...
Because then Amos and Peaches, like Peaches is probably going to die. Yeah. And they go in and they kill that guy and they take his house.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
But that's what I'm saying about,
I would kill someone to save your life.
That's what I mean about, like, why he's shown that he needs to return to the Rocinante, you know?
Sure, yeah. But also, return to the Rocinante isn't just about returning to a moral framework. It's also about returning to a level of comfort and access to privilege.
Sure.
Right? Like, the Rocinante is a very privileged vessel. They can go somehow wherever they want, despite the fact that the Martians really want that ship back.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the next question before I just show my whole ass more. Apollo Juniors says, if you could interview one person involved with the production about the experience, cast or crew, who would it be? Wes Chatham. I'd be like, Wes, do you want to go to the gym and bro out?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he would be fun, like, as, like, just a human being to hang out with. Also Bobby. Like, if we could do it...
If we could get a drink with Bobby.
Interview with the two of them, like...
I feel like doing a whiskey tasting with Frankie Adams would be so fun.
Right? Yeah.
Or she would be the most girly girl ever and not drink whiskey. She'd be like, oh no, that was only Bobby. I'm not...
Yeah, I'm not like that. Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, Wes Chatham, Bobby, and Frankie Adams and I could all go to a whiskey bar and drink really expensive scotch.
Yeah. Paula Jr.'s also asked, given the opportunity to work on a project with any actor from The Expanse, who would you choose for a scene partner? Bonus points for having a specific project in mind.
Ooh. I mean, like,
if I could just
feel like
wrestle
it would be
Bobby.
Dominique Tipper.
Oh, fair.
Like, because she's going to make me look good. You know what I mean? Like, the scene's going to be, like, really well acted.
Yeah.
Even if it's 100% on her part, I'm going to look like I was a great actor next to her.
Yeah, because you're there.
Yeah.
I would pay money to have Bobby Draper wrestle me. You know?
Bonus points.
Yeah.
That would do it well on another site.
Sure would.
Star asks, if you could choose only one temporary sidekick character, defined by a character that appeared for a brief period of about a season or less to help the main characters and then didn't appear later except in cameos, to continue working with the main characters in the later seasons, including preventing their canon death if they died, who would you have liked to see more of, and how would you have liked that spell? It's Prax for me. I mean, Prax, I really, as much as I love the rest of the show, and I don't, necessarily want it changed. But I really felt Prax's loss. What's up, someone? Thanks for getting a hoodie.
Someone got a hoodie.
Someone got a hoodie.
That hoodie is so cozy.
It's so soft.
You're going to fucking love it.
Yeah, I will be wearing it tonight while I lie and watch the Oilers play the Florida Panthers. Look, I'm a Calgary boy. I'm a Calgary Flames fan. I would not normally root for the Oilers, but it has been 30 years. It's been over 30. It's been over 30 years since a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. All right, it has been over 30 years since this country has hoisted Stanley's prize.
A tragedy.
And for the most of my life, I would happily have fist fought an Oilers fan for fun. But for the next 2 weeks, I'm an Oilers fan. I want the cup to come back to Canada.
Sports.
But I'll be wearing the hoodie while I do that.
I'm happy for you.
I would have liked Prax. Maybe like Prax and Clarissa Mao date, and so we still get the Peaches thing.
Right.
But we get like I feel like Clarissa would really benefit from having a like softer spoken, more intellectual boyfriend.
And like a daughter to care for.
Oh, Clarissa her turn had come because she started to care for the kid, that would have been beautiful.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
They'd be a cute couple. Yeah, that's how I'd add it. Who would you choose?
Yeah, no, I think Prax. Prax is definitely my favorite character who was... Here's the thing. To me, he still feels like he was a huge part of the show, even though he wasn't exactly. But hands down, Prax.
He introduced a lot of growth, though, by being a character that comes in and points out, like, the systemic flaws that the rest of the Rocinante crew were allowing to fester because they weren't paying attention to it. And sometimes television does that, right? You introduce a character who comes in not to kind of change the whole show, but kind of like give your characters a motivation to look at what they are, at the routines that they are settling into. And I think Prax did a really good job of like showing those routines and kind of breaking them out of it.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat says, Crom, the Pale, says, did you notice that Thomas Jane directed an episode of The Expanse, 5-3? Yes, it's a very good episode.
Yeah.
Would you ever wish to direct?
I don't know. I don't know if it's for me, to be honest. I don't feel like I have worked on enough projects, like on film sets, to like really know even where to begin with that directorial role.
Yeah. It's a lot of knowledge.
There's so much that goes into it, and I truly, personally, feel like I am very bad at the overall vision of things. I'm great at detail work.
Yeah.
Like I will.
I'm not agreeing with you to say that, but I agree.
No, I know this about myself.
You would need a really good line producer to kind of keep things on track.
Yeah. Because I think I would just get too bogged down in specific individual moments.
Yeah. Or
little tiny things that like meant something to me that I noticed, because I notice stupid little things like that. And it's like what I really like about the cosplay is the tiny details, and I don't think my brain is actually suited well for directing. I think I would rather try my hand at writing. Mm-hmm. If I had to pick something, obviously, like being the talent on camera is, I think, where my strengths are the best suited.
You're very good at it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I would try other jobs before I did directing. I don't think I have the constitution for that. Mm-hmm. What about you?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, no, I figured.
Oh, yeah, I have a movie I want to direct really bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I would get the money for it.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'm in a place where like anyone is wondering if I'm gonna, it's tough to get jobs as a director, right? And I would love to direct some like short films and stuff, but like with our schedule, it's hard.
Yeah.
But I would absolutely have to. I don't know that I would want to direct something that I loved. Until I had a lot of experience. Yeah, or like an episode of The Expanse. Like I feel like I would rather direct something that like
low stakes.
I'm not super familiar with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Succession. I've heard Succession's great. I don't actually know much about it. But like I would rather direct something that like I've heard is great, has really talented people on board, and that I respect but don't love. Whereas The Expanse, the pressure of it would be tough for me, given that I don't have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Not that I would direct. I'm not saying I'm going to be a director on Succession. I that was a bad example, but
no, I get what you're trying to say.
But yeah, no, I would love to direct. I love the idea of it. I love the art form of film, and I think television might be a little bit tough for me because I would want to be I would want to play a little bit more than TV kind of allows for. There's a sort of way that TV has to get directed because you kind of have to. TV directing is really hard, right? Because you
have to fit
show up
into
with a book that tells you how the show looks, right?
Yeah.
And you have to fit into whoever set the style.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, you have to be very malleable.
And there are very few shows that allow directors to really push that. And I love shows that do. I love shows where it feels like that episode was directed by a different person because it has some style to it.
In that way, I feel like if I were to direct something, I would rather direct an episode of a TV show than a movie.
Well, because like Kevin Smith talks about all the time, because he would direct episodes of The Flash. Or not The Flash. He was directing episodes... Supergirl? I can't remember. But he was like, I show up to Vancouver and I cheerlead and they make the show because they're there every week and I show up for 1 week and like give some direction. Yeah. But like they make the show every week. They know what they're doing. I barely know what I'm doing.
That's what I mean, yeah.
The Flash.
You just get to slap your name on it.
Oh, I was right. The Flash and Supergirl. But yeah, and I love listening to him talk about it because he's like, it's wild because it's not a Kevin Smith show. It's The Flash.
Yeah.
And there's only so much I can do. He also brought up, like, he's like, I don't do the CGI stuff. So, like, when they're doing when they're setting all that up, they just tell me how it's going to work, and then it does. And I just have to kind of, like, bring donuts and have a good time.
Yeah. And
I really loved his honesty in that. I think that it's one of the reasons why I love Kevin Smith so much, among, how much his movies have meant to me my whole life. Mm-hmm. But it is that thing that he does where he is really honest and a very humble person about, his accomplishments. Mm-hmm. It was something that when I was first, like, dealing with the diagnosis and, like, finding out that I was autistic and why I was maybe having a hard time connecting with people, he was someone that I really looked at because, those early podcasts, the Smodcast days, there's a humbleness that he brought from a place of power that I was like, I don't get that, but I want to be better about that so that people like me more. And I feel like a lot of my personality came from listening to him talk. But
I think that's fair.
Yeah, he's just he is. It's the same reason why, like, I love Travis Willingham on Critical Role so much, right? Is he has this ability to be so good. You almost killed his son.
Okay, don't say it like that. His son bumped into me
at the edge of the balcony.
Yeah, but he was holding onto Travis's hand. There's no way.
You could have hip checked that kid down into the orchestra.
It wasn't me. The kid ran into me. It wasn't my fault.
There's a quality of people who are really good at, in the moment, admiring other people's accomplishments that I really struggled with when I was younger. And I try and do a lot better now because I know what it means to other people to be acknowledged, and I get it now, but I didn't when I was younger. And I had to learn that. And I'm really grateful that a therapist pointed it out to me. And I'm grateful that I did put in that work because it made my life a lot better. Yeah. I didn't have a lot of friends. And then I kind of had a therapist kind of point out some stuff. And I really worked on some stuff. And I noticed immediately when I started to have people who were in my life consistently. And it's why, like, my two closest male friends are both from 2 years after that. Kind of back to back. And they're still, the closest men in my life. And I've made a lot of friends since, but it was kind of really paying attention to those people that are able to do the work and be really successful and have all those things and still, like, and be kind and humble and talk about the people who helped them get there. It's just something I had to learn. And I'm grateful to Kevin Smith for being so open about it and for there's so many people who are like that, but you don't have this library of audio and video that you can, like, learn from.
Yeah.
And I needed that, and I found that in him because he was one of the first people kind of in that space doing it.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I'm Nerdy Nightly now, right? Like, is that inspiration of kind of wanting to be like him in a way.
Yeah, there's something really, honestly, fascinating about the medium of podcasts. Mm-hmm. And podcasts that are just, like, people sitting down to chat.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very, like, human. Star also asks, I know you weren't the most interested in the execution of Clarissa's story in season 3. With the hindsight of knowing her whole arc in the show, what changes, if any, would you make to her first arc in the show?
I mean, it's tough because if I could make changes, I would, like, let them make the show without the fear that they were getting canceled and so rushing it, right?
Yeah.
Like, the change that I would make is not, I wouldn't want to be involved. I would say, hey, we're not canceling you. Make the show the way that you were going to.
Yeah, I think Clarissa's story just needed space and context for her because she just kind of showed up and I didn't like her, didn't understand what her deal was, and her backstory was kind of just like rich bitch. And
she showed up and, like, had super hacker and also AI videos, and she was too capable. And
she needed context.
I get that it came from, hey, we're not moving on past season 3, let's have this end in 6 episodes well, right?
Yeah.
And I commend them for what they did in hindsight.
For sure.
But if I could change it, I would just have that group of people have the time to tell the story the way they had been for the first 2 books.
Yeah.
Because they're exemplary.
Yeah, 100%.
Or first, 2 books.
Zez asks, if you had to cast an actor from the Expanse show in an adaptation of a past book club novel, who would you choose and for what role? Interesting.
I feel like a young Stephen Strait would have been really good as Oh, from Aragon.
Murtagh or?
Yeah, I think that a young Stephen Strait would have been a great Murtagh.
Interesting. Okay,
He
that's fun. That's
brewed
fun.
so well.
Yeah.
That quality, I feel like he would have been really good in that.
Yeah, I would love, honestly, to see Bobby Draper as Ham from Mistborn.
Yeah.
For sure. I think she would absolutely crush that role.
Wes Chatham would be good as honestly, I was gonna say Kelsier, but Marsh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I can see that for sure.
What other books have we read?
Yeah, right. Damn. Okay.
I'm trying to think.
Because
the problem is a lot of them are like kids. Like, not the cast are all kind of adults.
And I don't really want to cast someone from the Wheel of Time because the show
Christian
exists.
Avasarala would be great as
Elena.
Tad Swain.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I'm like, what did we read that's not...
Dominique Tipper would have been a great Moraine.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was just trying to think of stuff that doesn't already exist in, like, show format.
Yeah, that we haven't read a lot of books outside of that. What have we read?
We read Cradle.
Yeah, but the only character worth casting that's Lyndon.
Yeah.
And he's too young.
Yeah. Warbreaker. Vasher could...
Ooh, Wes Chatham could be Vasher.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, for sure. Elantris. Oh, Dominique Tipper would have been great as Sereni in coming in from another country, being like a little sword lady.
That would be very funny.
Stephen Strait could be Raoden. You could literally just do the cast of them as in Elantris.
I would love to see Kamina Drummer play Shy from Emperor's Soul.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, a little short movie.
Yeah. And maybe have the actor who plays Mao play the, like, kinder man in that.
Yeah.
What's his face?
Yeah, that would be fun.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Luke Blightwalker asks, do you think the questions surrounding the protomolecule origins will be answered by the end of the book series, or will we still have many things left to discover? I don't think you'll ever answer the origins. I think it's how people use it. I don't know that the series is very interested in where it comes from. I think it's more interested in like how it affects humanity. So I don't know that it matters, right?
Yeah. No, I don't think it will be it will be answered.
A civilization a billion years ago made it is as much of an answer as I've ever needed.
Yeah.
I wanted to know what it was. Like, because I think people be like, no, I saw these questions. I never needed to know where it came from. My question was always like, which of these 5 things that it does it do? And then it was like, oh, it just does all of them. And I was like, well, okay. The protomolecule to me is the part of the show that like,
It's so magic and versatile.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wish that I hadn't expected an answer because I kept waiting for the show to tell me what it was.
Yeah.
And that is never what the show was about. And I know people who watch this are... I know that I ruin things with my own expectations. Like, I'm really aware of the fact that I get excited for the ideas in my head. Mm-hmm. And sometimes television shows are fine, but they don't do the thing that I want them to do. And so I get disappointed. I'm aware of it. I know. But it's just how I am. And if you don't like it, don't watch our reactions. Like I said earlier, I don't care. But
to be fair with The Expanse, the opening scene was the protomolecule.
Yeah. But I still interact with the world the way that I do. And I know that some people find that frustrating. And I get it. Like I said, fucking 12 years ago, I didn't have any friends because I was an asshole. I am on a lifelong journey to try and understand how to make people like me. And I'm aware of that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a secret. But
also, like, while still being yourself. I don't think you ever, like, really compromise. Like, you're not like a... You are who you are, and, like, you're not trying to, like, change that.
I'm not trying to change who I am, but I am trying to I'm trying to learn how to present it in a way that's palatable for other people.
That's what I mean. That's more of a conversation and, like, just, Yeah. And
I think I'm getting better.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm getting better on video, though. I think that
Well,
sometimes...
that's because it's fun for us to be like,
I know, and honestly, sometimes it's fun to, like, fight with chat, but, like, I have to... Because, like, the math thing yesterday got a little out of hand because I was having fun.
Okay.
And so people are like, they do understand that women can do math in this world, too. And I'm like, I do.
Wait, that was a comment? That was not the point that we were trying to make.
I was enjoying the antagonism of it, right? And so part of the problem
math is math.
The part of the problem is that I'm having a good time. Mm-hmm. Like, one of our mods, I haven't responded yet, and I should have, I'm sorry. One of our mods in our, like, private mod chat was like, I just want to check in on Nerdy. Are you, like, good? Are you, like, having fun with book club? Because I was, like, yelling at chat yesterday. And I was like, no, that was me having fun. Like, that's kind of the... Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's fair. You should definitely respond to that.
I will.
I didn't realize... 10 plus 5 is apparently not math.
Oh my god, I just lost it.
Sorry.
I lost it.
Anyways.
All right.
That was fun.
I was having a good time. Would you compare, this is still Luke Blightwalker, would you compare Protomolecule existential threat to the threat of the Others from A Song of Ice and Fire series, or is there a better comparison to make with other book series? I wouldn't compare it to that just because the Protomolecule doesn't have a goal in the way that the White Walkers clearly had a goal and were a threat. The Protomolecule is more about what humanity does with it. So I think that they're similar concepts, but they're opposites in that one is holding a mirror up to humanity and one is giving humanity something to fight. Also, you can beat the White Walkers and you can't beat the Protomolecule. Right. Like it's. I mean, I guess they could have destroyed it all if Naomi hadn't kept it, but there probably would have been more somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. So in that way, I think that they're different. Where the White Walkers had their own agenda, and the Protomolecule never really had an agenda. Yeah,
that I like what you said about it holding up a mirror.
Yeah, the Protomolecule was a mirror at us, right? Like, how do we respond to a new form of power?
Yeah.
You can tell the same story with us discovering steam engines, right? Like, there are historical versions of the Expanse. You don't need the Protomolecule to tell that story.
For sure.
Whereas, like, the White Walkers are, like, zombies.
Yeah.
And they don't really hold up... They kind of hold up a mirror to Cersei a little bit in that one scene, but other than that, it's like, well, we have to beat them. They're zombies.
They're trying to come kill us all. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Skeptical Mario asks, are you worried that the community will demand Muppet casting for every franchise from now on?
I mean, I'll do it. I love the Muppets. That's hardly a hardship. Talk about a thing that has brought you joy since before you have memories. I have loved the Muppets since before I remembered. You know what I mean? Jim Henson, and look, modern Muppets. The Muppets of my youth when Jim Henson was around. They're different. And like, I really didn't like what they did with that Muppets TV show. I think having Kermit be a pig fetishist was very odd. There's like a TV show on ABC where they were like, what if the Muppets were like an Office-style sitcom? And like Kermit and Piggy have broken up and Kermit's dating a new pig and he has a type. And I was like, this is not what I want. I make it for kids. I want this to be for kids. I don't need Muppets for adults. Anyway. Yeah, I would happily do Muppets for everything. Muppets in the Expanse. Let's go. Kermit the Frog is Holden. Sam the Eagle is Wes Chatham. Is Amos. Do you do Piggy as... Yeah, you have to go Piggy as Naomi, but it's a little rough. It's not a great characterization. It's not one of her best performances. I would do Gonzo as Alex. I would do Fozzie as Prax.
Who's Monica?
Monica, the reporter. Janice from the Electric Band.
Piggy as Avasarala.
No, I think you have to go like the chicken, Mother or whatever, as Avasarala, or like Sam the Eagle as Aaron Wright. Yeah, that's pretty good. You could also do, you can do the rat from, what's the rat's name? Aaron Wright is Uncle Dudley. Honeydew as Prax is pretty good. Honeydew as Prax is pretty good. Aaron Wright is Uncle Dudley. Aaron Wright is Uncle Dudley. Honeydew as Prax is pretty good. Honeydew as Prax is pretty good. Aaron Wright is Uncle Dudley. Honeydew as Prax is pretty good. 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 Honeydew as Pra Miller pranks Anna, the one human each season. That's actually really funny. Having Thomas Jane interacting with the Muppets in The Expanse would be amazing.
Oh, no.
That would be great. I feel like we did a lot of big ones. That would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's an evil Kermit. I can't remember what his name is, but he could be Marco at the end, which would be fun.
Okay.
Not having Animal as Amos is wild. Animal's too high energy. Animal would be like Murtry or Ashford. No. Animal as Ashford. Amazing.
Okay.
Perfect casting. Pandoria asks, what do you think happens in terms of storylines if the show were to continue for several more seasons? I feel like they would have to find a way around the rings killing people.
Yeah. Yeah, like for me, like the end of the show is like the like infinite possibility and accessibility to space.
Yeah.
The infinite potential of humanity.
And it comes through humanity finding true unity. Like, because it would be a hopeful kind of Star Trek-y kind of story.
I would love for that. Do I, have faith in humanity? Not really, but it's fine. Yeah, I think that like learning how to use the rings and like figuring out how to come together would be my like idealistic conclusion. But that's about it. I don't really know in terms of like details what
I have no idea. It could be anything. It could be so fun.
Yeah.
Twitch's HD says, can you shout out my wife Tafari from London? What's up, Tafari from London?
Hello.
I hope London is treating you well and that you're able to find what little good food there is there.
Hey, that might be London, Ontario. You don't know. They have good food in London, Ontario.
London, Ontario is good food. Pilks, final question in the Discord says, what percentage of the costume budget went to Avasarala? Like 65%.
Yeah.
Or did Shora Agdashloo bring some of her casual outfits from home? She's another one I would love to interview.
True.
I would love to sit down and have a conversation with her about her life because I feel like it must be fascinating.
I know. Yeah.
Because she's in so many video game adaptations and in video games.
She's just so cool.
She's in Arcane.
I know. I love her.
Yeah.
I would interview her in a heartbeat. But yeah, I'm gonna say like actually like percentage of costume budget was like 20% for her.
Blue says, Threk says, London had great Indian food when I was there. We can't go up for Indian because Clarks can't eat it. So.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I bet there's good Indian food there.
Yeah. No, I can't eat any of that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. I bet some of those were her own clothes. I believe that she would own those.
Yeah, I buy it.
Every once in a while, they'd be like, hey, can we save a little bit of money today?
Or she took them home. She got to keep them all.
Yeah. She paid for half of them, but she got to keep them.
Well, actually, yeah, because not many of her outfits made it to the auction. Isn't there another auction coming up?
For The Expanse?
Yeah. There's like a final auction or something that somebody... Blue, we had fish and chips in London, and as a person who loves fish and chips, I gotta tell you, it's pretty trash. It's pretty trash, actually. Very disappointed. We had one meat pie that was good, and that was about it. Everything else, ugh.
So, June 13th.
Nice.
So that starts in 4 days. Does anyone want to buy us some Expanse shit?
Yeah.
You can buy our Expanse merch, or you could buy us
Expanse
this Avasarala costume.
That's pretty fucking sick. You have to register? I just want to see what's in it. No, just go to... Oh, did you sign up?
I think so.
Okay.
No.
Go back, see what they have.
You can't see until it's...
What is
Oh,
it? Yeah,
I'm dumb.
Featured lots. Yeah.
Enter for chance to win. Featured lots. Okay, we got James Holden's MCR in light armor with light up helm, pack, and light up boots.
Damn.
Not gonna be able to afford that. These Rocinante Crew coffee bulbs.
Okay, I would get those in a fucking heartbeat.
They're probably gonna be like $600.
I know.
Wes Chatham, Season 3 Bloody Rocinante coveralls.
Love that. Oh, Julie Mao's Scopuli coveralls. Those might actually fit me.
How tall is... Okay, Julie Mao actor.
The suits went for so much last time. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Florence Favor. Favre? Okay. So Florence Favre height. Florence Favre height. Okay. And then 1.74 in...
No, just do feet. Oh, 5'8.5". Oh, fuck no.
No, she's
absolutely not.
Although, goddamn.
Yeah, she's like supermodel height.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's not gonna work.
That's fine. Some cool guns. We got Thomas.
The guns would be cool.
Thomas Jane's hat. Kamina Drummer's jumpsuit and belt.
Naomi's.
Love that.
Chet Samaka vac suit.
You can get the fucking chair from the Rocinante.
Yeah. Rocinante flight deck chair. Should I stream from the Rocinante flight deck?
That would be wild.
Our new podcast setup.
That would be so fucking cool. Oh my god. Damn. All right. Well, one can dream.
Fred Johnson's orange Ovis display helm.
Love that.
Glenn Miller's UNN Guard complete spacesuit uniform with light up helm, armor pack, light up boots, and rifle.
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
That's gonna be the big one, I think. That and the cups. I think the cups, because you can actually like
use them.
Yeah, are gonna be.
God damn! I would love to buy enough that we could do when we do our TTRPG. We're in suits from the actual TV show.
Yeah. So speaking of that,
we're not sure when it's gonna happen yet, but it's gonna happen. I don't think anything in the offer is talking about under 1K. Like 1K we could do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like $1,000 we could do.
If we can use it for something to make it a tax write-off.
We could stream a lot to make $1,000. You guys need to build a streaming room like the Razorback cockpit. That would be, well, the Razorback I don't think would work.
Be a bit small.
Well, and you'd be one of us would be behind the other.
That would be hilarious.
I would have to be in front because I'd run everything.
Oh, I could run it. Oh, please. I can press record. Like...
That's not all I do.
Sorry, you press mute and unmute and play and record.
And I set everything up. You put on your makeup and then you sit down and it's just ready to go.
So I sit down and stream? I don't set up my own streams?
No, you do. I'm just teasing.
Oh, interesting. So who streamed first, actually? Who showed you how to stream on Twitch?
Yeah, and then you like went away for 6 months and forgot how computers work.
I don't know. Weird. Super weird. Yeah, guys, we are planning.
Could we even see Clarissa if she's behind Nerdy? I don't know.
No.
Probably not.
No. We're planning an Expanse TTRPG game. However, just due to other things going on throughout the year, that looks like it's going to be like January. That'll be like our kickoff of 2025, which I know is a ways away. And I'm sorry, but there are things between now and then that kind of make dedicating the time and energy we would like to into that nearly impossible.
Yeah.
So we're trying to fit it all in, but I think it'll be fun to kick off 2025 with an Expanse TTRPG. Short campaign. We really want to play it. We're very excited to play it.
I think it's going to be like another 6-episode thing like Candela is.
Yeah. I have a feeling we'll have read like 1 or 2 books by then, you know.
And I think the game, like the system takes place between like book 3 and 4 or something like that.
Okay.
Like canonically.
Oh, great. Okay, yeah. So that's kind of the plan. I know we've been talking about it for a while, but just...
Yeah.
It's just how these things go sometimes.
And then the Wheel of Time one will be after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for chatting the Expanse with us, y'all. This was really fun.
Is there any character or thing that we didn't talk about the whole time that we need to before we go? Chat, is there anything that we didn't talk about this whole time that you're like, you missed this thing? Because I feel like we complimented almost everything, and I complained a little bit more about Mercury. Yeah. And that was my goal for today. But is there anything we've like fundamentally missed?
I don't think so.
The smoke monsters. The smoke monsters.
The smoke monsters?
Champa? The strange dogs. Oh God, we did not talk about the strange dogs.
The weird half of season 6 that is like a prelude to the
Yeah, they're weird. I don't like the zombie kid. That freaked me out.
Yeah. Yeah. If anything, that's our biggest hint for what is in the later books.
Yeah, but I would say how it gets through the rings when the rings are now burning through people.
But they don't do it every time, right? Remember?
I know, so I have to figure out a way around that because they can't risk. No, but they did the math on how much build up leads to it happening.
Yeah.
I guess you could like do the build up and then send something through that like triggers it but doesn't kill anybody. Like just send like a packing ship through with nothing on board.
Yeah.
Although you might need people on board to trigger it, but you could like maybe like have like a way of triggering it in a certain part of the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's honestly what I'm most excited for in the books.
Yeah, figuring out how that works.
And also the infinite possibilities of what the rings can hold. Like it's on also, that planet with the weird dogs.
It's so interesting that the thing that killed the past civilization only lives in the transit points. And only seems to be able to get them in the transit points. It's not like out in the world, it's almost like antimatter. Like they built the protomolecule to fight against antimatter in a way that's so... That's huge, and like I don't know what that means, right?
I don't know.
I don't know how to like
science.
Yeah, science in a big way. Like science on like such a scale that like my brain. You guys know I'm an idiot. I say shit and then I let chat correct me. That's sort of how I'm learning.
We do it to give chat the participation that it craves. We say things wrong purposefully so that you get to correct us.
Yeah.
Totally, 100%.
Yeah.
This was fun. Thank you guys. What an incredible TV show. What an incredible journey we've all been on since episode 1, like a fucking year ago.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're so grateful. We're so happy that we fucking started the show. Oh my god.
Yeah. And that it was good throughout. You know what I mean? Like we've done some stuff that like fell off for us or that we didn't enjoy or and I would have sucked to not enjoy this.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that we did. It's so good. And, like, if you worked on the show and you made it this far, and thank you. You did a good job.
Yeah.
You made something special.
Yeah, we should say a big thanks to everyone who helped make it.
Yeah.
In case any of you are watching.
Yeah. Upcoming reactions are going to be interesting. We're going to do Bridgerton Season 3, The Acolyte. We filmed Godzilla -1, so that is going to come this week, as well as The Boys Season 4 and House of the Dragon Season 2.
Yep, that's it.
There are going to be 5 reactions this week.
There's so much stuff.
That's crazy.
Dropping.
We said we were going to slow down.
Yeah, and then they decided all the good TV shows that we should react to, we're going to drop all at once. So
yeah, it's going to be a big week on the channel. Acolyte Episode 3, Bridgerton Season 3, probably Episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4, maybe. We'll see how that goes. The Boys, House of the Dragon, and then more Bridgerton Season 3 next weekend because it's going to drop.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I wanna
shoot,
so fun. Baby.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
For reals.
Was fun. This won't be the last thing we do in the Expanse. We got more coming. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
We love the show too much to stop talking about it. But the next thing might be the game. I don't know. We don't know what we're gonna do next. I still want to play the Telltale game.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I haven't played it since I played a little bit of Chapter 1 for the ad that we did for them. Because they sponsored a video.
Stream.
So when I beat Fallout, I might just play a little bit of that.
That's fun.
We'll see.
Okay. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Thanks so much, y'all. If you like the video, like, subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave mean comments down below because the algorithm god is hungry and we must feed her. This episode, that algorithm goddess, the algorithm goddess of the entirety of the Expanse. Clarice, you get to choose one final woman to honor with this. So who is the algorithm goddess?
It has to be Shora.
Christian Avasarala.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I would have given it to Naomi Nagata.
I know, and I was like, but like, she's,
I get it.
I don't know.
It is what it is, y'all. Clarice.
Can only
this
pick
is Clarice's
one.
channel, and she makes the rules.
It's true. I am the Nightly of Nerdy Nightly.
If you want to follow us around the internet, you can follow me at Nerdy Nightly.
You can follow me at Clarice Polaris.
And as always, do something nerdy tonight, y'all.
Bye. Bye.